JT back, they're rushing him. It is a touchdown! Touchdown, Los Alamitos! Oh, I can't believe it! I can't believe it! JT Snow! Grignano still has the ball. Grignano is sweeping to the left. Grignano's in for the touchdown. Los Alamitos.
Great play by Todd Grignano. Triple left.
"22 years ago in the Empire League, two football teams met, and the matchup was historic. 22 years later, this matchup is the most followed, the biggest crosstown rivalry in Orange County. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the Los Alamitos Griffins and the Aztecs of Esperanza. Hello again, everybody. Fritz Pollard, Ron Cluey, John Bowles. Welcome as we broadcast from Bradford Stadium here in Placentia. LATV proudly presents high school football, and it does not get any bigger than this. This matchup has so many storylines you don't even know where to start. Let's look at the record. Over the last 23 games, Los Alamitos has a two-game edge, 12-10-1. You can't get any closer than that. The Aztecs hold the scoring edge. Over 23 games, 450 points. Los Alamitos, 442. The coaches are historic legends in the county. John Barnes, 24 seasons. He has 211 wins. A victory tonight will literally tie him with Dick Hill for the most victories in the county. And Coach Meek is no second fiddle. He literally will be stepping down from this coaching position at the end of the season. He is a legend at this school. He will take over the AD position, but he wants to make this game a victory tonight for his team and walk out a winner. Let's go to the teams. Los Alamitos, Ron Cluey. The storyline last week, injuries. How are they doing? Keys to tonight's game.
It's still a factor tonight, Fritz. Gabe Doby and Rasheed Prescott both took injuries that are keeping him out of the game this week. Gabe has a high ankle sprain. Rasheed has a deep thigh bruise. It's fortunate. They thought it might be a broken bone. The good news for Los Al on the injury side is they actually have a complete O-line for the first time this season. All 7 of what are considered the starters, even though it's a 5-man line, there's 7 players considered equally capable of starting, are back and healthy. You'll probably see some of them rotate in on some of the plays. It's going to be a dogfight the whole way through.
Well, we have not seen this game be anything other than a dogfight, so we're expecting that. Let's go to the Aztec side of things, John Bowles. Last week against Edison, the Aztecs 1-0 now. They handled Edison very well, and the defense really stood out. 6 sacks. Los Alamitos, a passing team. Are we going to see that same pressure tonight?
I would imagine so, Fritz. Edison really had the world handed to him last week by this Esperanza defense. Tommy Grady, he signed with Oklahoma, but folks, he's having a miserable year, just getting beaten up. Esperanza, 6-0. They beat Fallbrook out of San Diego, which is one of the top-rated teams in San Diego in the preseason. But as we talked with Coach Meek before the game, he admits that they haven't played a preseason schedule like Los Al did, so this is really going to be their first gut check. On the other side, Gary Meek's last year here at Esperanza. He and John Barnes have a great relationship and a very, very friendly relationship. It's a good rivalry, but it is a friendly one, and this is going to be a great game between 2 good guys tonight.
Well, and they talked about it in the paper. This is not a hated rivalry. It is a heated rivalry. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our seats upstairs. Do not go away. You're not going to want to miss this one. We'll be right back with the kickoff. It's the Griffins and the Aztecs coming right up.
This edition of the LATV3's Game of the Week is brought to you by friends and family of the Los Alamitos Football Booster Club and by your friends at McKenna Motors, McKenna Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep at the Pomona Auto Center, McKenna BMW, Porsche, Audi, and Volkswagen at the Norwalk Auto Center, and McKenna Volkswagen and Isuzu on the Beach Boulevard Mile of Cars in Huntington Beach.
There are people with a calling. Most serve 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks a year. Earning money for college. Protecting their community. In the Army National Guard, you can.
Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good, oh, with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
Find out what you can do. Contact Volunteers of America today.
Hank, you ever think about putting something away for the future?
What are you talking about?
United States savings bonds, Hank.
What do you know about United States savings bonds?
Actually, they're one of the safest investments you can make. You get competitive interest rates and up to a 30-year interest deferral from federal income tax. So, what do you think?
Well, I have to admit you were surprisingly persuasive.
United States savings bonds. Sign up through your company's payroll savings plan.
Welcome back to Bradford Stadium here in Placentia. Ladies and gentlemen, Fritz Pollard Happy to have Ron Cluey and downstairs John Bowles, and again the 24th matchup of these two teams, and there you see the respective captains. Let's go downstairs and listen to the referee in the coin toss.
Captain, we'd like to talk to one of you. We refer to you as the white team, so if you hear us say white captain, we'd like to talk to one of you gentlemen. The white team's the visitors. They're going to call the coin. Are you talking number 51? Okay, we have a ceremonial coin here. That's the head of the center. That's the tail of the center. I'm going to flip it in the air and catch it. I'd like you to call heads or tails. It'll be heads. It's going to call heads. If I drop it, ready to go? That looks like tails to me. Do you agree? Okay, red, you have run the coin toss. Red team has won, and they will defer. White team, that'll be your one for the second half of the next. Okay, red team, you will get the goal. Okay, red team, please put you back there. White team, put you back.
So there you see it. Los Alamitos will take the ball to get things started here. And we've seen that the last few games, and I guess you could say Los Alamitos doesn't mind getting the rock and running with it.
No, I would say it's got to be a pretty gutsy move on Coach Meeks' part to go ahead and give Los Al the ball, knowing what a high-powered offense it is. But then again, at the same time, I think he's looking down to the end of this game when you're looking at, okay, there's a pretty strong wind blowing right now from left to right on our screen, and that could be a real decider when you get to the tail end of this game if it's a close game and you're going for a field goal.
Well, the gamesmanship already starting as you see the Griffins ready to come out of the end zone there at the north end of the field. We talked about all of the storylines to this game, and I can tell you that when you look at the Sunset League from top to bottom, these are the two top teams. Orange County Register actually had picked Los Alamitos 1 and Esperanza's number 2, and let's go ahead and look at how these two teams have played before tonight. 6-0 as we saw the Aztecs, perfect pre-league, yet we did hear from Coach Meekin here that it may have been a little weaker. The Griffins 5-0-1. Hart tossed them that tie in the early going, game 1 actually in the late going. And then the Barons actually coming on very strong. They won 2 league games.
Yeah, it's been a real surprise because the win last night was a real surprise over Edison, because you thought even though Grady has a very weak offensive line in front of him, with the talent that he has still at receivers and, of course, his own tremendous talent, that he could beat them. But Fountain Valley's finding a little bit of grit somewhere and trying to fight for that playoff position.
Well, they're winning the ones he needs to, and then when you look at the Vikings, they pull one out against Huntington Beach.
Yeah, and that was really a game where I think not having Harrigan for the fourth quarter, he went down with leg cramps, probably hurt Huntington Beach, because if you look at the stats, I think he's about 90% of their offense right now.
Yeah, we saw that last week. What an excellent athlete in Harrigan. And 300-yard game against Los Alamitos, and he just, quite frankly, ran out of gas in the third quarter. Well, to get started here tonight, back deep for the Los Alamitos Griffins will be Estes, number 24 on the near side, and on the far side, taking over for Prescott, who is out with an injury, will be number 11, Childs.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see here, Fritz, if they kick to Childs, because they know what Prescott can do, especially from watching last week's game film where he ran the ball back against Huntington Beach. And it looks like, although with the way they have the ball set, that they're going to kick to Estes' side of the field.
Wiener with the kickoff for the Aztecs. That will be taken midway into the end zone. Childs fields it, and that'll come out to the 20-yard line.
Of course.
Let's take a look at how Los Alamitos matches up when we look at that offensive line. Orozco, Snyder, McDaniel, Steinhauser, and Cluey. The wideouts, Mandis, Childs, Montoya checks in for Prescott. Of course, Klein, the quarterback, tripped the senior wideout in Bagley at the running back position. And Los Alamitos loves going to the air. The Aztecs put a tremendous amount of pressure on Edison last week on those front 4 defenders on the line for the Aztecs, and we go right to the air again as Childs gets the screen pass and is taken down. Nice pickup there by Childs to get things kicked off.
Yeah, I imagine that Los Al.
Well, let's go ahead and quickly look at the front 4 for Esperanza. Adams, Long, Davis, and Swanson. Pretty good linebacking core. Redden, Storing, and Kretschmar. And then a lot of speed in the backfield. You got Hill, number 20 there, guy you want to keep your eye on. He also lines up in the receiver position. So speedy guys in the safety and corner position for the Aztecs. Klein going to the air again. They're going to get it out to Bagley. Bagley finds a little crease. Going to be near a first down on that. And so Los Alamitos goes left, then goes right.
Yeah, I think one of the things they're going to do is they're going to avoid probably trying to go up the middle. Number 99, Long for Esperanza. This kid's a monster. I was looking at their website. He deadlifted over 625 pounds during a weightlifting competition this summer. He's a 6'4", 270-pound senior. I've got to believe there's people looking at him for a scholarship offer.
Well, he is a stud. 2 sacks on the season, 1 fumble recovery, and 39 tackles so far on the season. I'm sure we will be calling his name tonight. From the shotgun, gets it out to Childs. Similar play that we saw. 1 yard was needed for the first down, and Childs gets it, moves the chains.
Yeah, and this is good play right now by the Los Al coaches with the way they're calling it. Little short 4 or 5 yard gains, force Esperanza to start coming up and bringing those safeties and corners up and get the ball to the outside and away from those big defensive linemen.
Childs before tonight's game, 33 receptions, 575 yards, and a 17.4 average. 6 touchdowns, not bad for a sophomore.
Oh, phenomenal for a sophomore. I mean, this is a guy who we're going to call a lot about in the future years. Okay, the chain gang game, a little bit of problem here trying to get set up.
Come on, guys, we're into league play now. You had 5 pre-league games to get it together. But then again, I guess they don't have a coach. So here we go, 1st and 10. Childs on the near side. Bagley in the backfield. They're going to give it to Bagley, and Bagley finding some running room. Bagley well into the secondary, gets across midfield, and boy, were the screen passes setting up that one.
Yeah, great hole open there by Snyder and Cluey on the right side. Bagley just followed right behind him, and that was just nice play on Ryan's part by just following through the hole there. Here you go, you see one guy kicked out, the other guy collapsed in the middle. Bagley just runs right through where the hole was. Excellent execution.
Cluey really sealed off the defensive lineman there to open that up. So Los Alamitos takes the ball in the opening drive and moving it at this point with ease. Klein going to go now to Tripp. Childs downfield blocking. Tripp picks up at 8 on the play.
Yeah, and that's another nice aspect of Jeremy Childs. I mean, you see that he does some really nice downfield blocking on that play and probably helped Tripp there pick up about another 4 yards on that play. Tell you, this is really good play calling, Fritz. I mean, just short, crisp stuff. You know, burn up the clock. This is not the game you want to go for the home runs on and have your defense on the field a long time. Want to let them rest up.
Well, and the question was after last week's game against Huntington Beach, what was the health of some of these players? 4 starters go down. 2 of the big ones, Dobie and Prescott, not available for tonight's game, and those are 2 young men that are very unhappy as they are walking the sideline.
Oh, yeah, Gabe Dobie just crushed tonight. I mean, he was really looking forward to this game, and I know from talking to Rashid, too, I mean, he was psyched about playing this game. He has heard so much about this rivalry between these 2 schools and was really looking for the opportunity. And we have a measurement on the field.
So it looked like they picked up maybe more than 8, and they're being very careful. Looks like we're going to be measuring this in centimeters.
Yeah, it's about 2nd in inches there.
So Los Alamitos happy to take it as Coach Barnes and his senior quarterback, Jeff Klein, 70% passer, 802 yards before tonight's start, only 3 interceptions and 7 touchdowns. And we will also see Mr. Klein tuck it under and run when needed. But so far, Klein in the play calling, mixing it up, moving the ball. They're going to give it to Bagley, and Bagley gets caught there right about the line of scrimmage, but picked up the first down. It would appear in on the stop is big number Ryan Davis.
Yeah, nice second effort by Davis on that play. Came through and, oh, this isn't good. This looks like John McDaniel down on the field, who's the center.
Well, and actually Davis looked like he was on top of McDaniel, if that is in fact him, and Davis even looked like he was bent back a little bit.
Yeah, okay, they've got Rollins in already. It looks like we're going to see the same lineup as last week. They're going to move Snyder over to center, Kluwe into guard, and Rollins over to tackle.
Well, so that offensive line, Ron Kluwe, we were talking about earlier, finally back at full strength, maybe now taking a step back.
I wouldn't say that, Fritz. Not really taking a step back. I mean, these guys, this is pretty much almost co-equals with the two guys that are on the, you know, on the, I hate to say bench because they're really not bench players. These guys are ready and able to come in, both Espinoza and Rollins on this play. You know, they're strong players. They're going to be back next year for Los Al.
Well, and it's a good sign. Sitting up now is McDaniel.
Yeah, they rolled him over. They're sitting back up, but he's really ginger on that knee. Oh, boy, this looks like maybe big number 92 fell on that leg there.
Go ahead and see if we can't get it queued up to see where this injury may have taken place.
Okay, there he is right there. He's laying on the ground. Actually,
didn't appear to
boy,
be
this
anything.
just looks hard. Well, my guess is going to be maybe just his knee hitting the ground. You can hit a funny bone in your knee, same as your elbow.
Well, we'll try to get an update from the field. Aztecs showing blitz. Gets rid of it, and that is complete. So Klein near perfect here so far in the first quarter. In fact,
he is perfect.
He is perfect, and yeah, Statman unavailable tonight, but the Aztecs bringing a lot of personnel up front. Offensive line picking them up, and I'll tell you, the short passing game is going to keep that blitz from being effective.
Yeah, and especially also there's an adage that says pass to where the blitz comes from, too, because if they're bringing guys into blitz, that means a receiver has to be open.
6 sacks last week for the Aztec defense, and Grady was under a tremendous amount of pressure in the season opener for Esperanza, and there's a big hit, and that is number 99, Gabe Long, and when you talk about his strength, he met Bagley at the line.
Yeah, and actually that was a pretty good hit also by Steinhauser on the trap. And he popped Long, and Long just kind of threw him aside and grabbed Bagley and kind of tossed him around like a sack of Fritos.
Well, they are going to have to set the run up with the pass tonight. That is obvious. You've got a tremendous amount of talent in the front four. Swanson for the Aztecs is 230, Davis at 240, Long 270, and Adams, the weakling, at 210, and believe me, he is not a weakling. And Klein going to run it himself, and he gets wrapped up. So we had mentioned earlier that Jeff Klein was capable of tucking the ball under and going. In fact, he's rushed for 221 yards on the season.
Yeah, and I think this is where you see that trying to go inside on Esperanza is not going to really work. These guys, I mean, these are a big, tough D-line, you know, and, I mean, they work hard. Los Al's O-line's a great O-line, but they're really set up to be a passing O-line.
Well, Ron, and you watch as Los Alamitos march down and pick up first downs, the coaching staff obviously making the adjustments to the defensive front four and the linebackers shutting Los Al down. Big play here for the Griffins.
And we have first down. Excellent play. Boy, on 4th and 10, that was a great call.
Excellent. Klein throws the dart to Brandon Tripp and moves the chain. That was a big call.
Yeah, it was. And what you saw was Tripp did a nice down and in route, got the space between the two players. And, of course, you know, as we've said before this season, boy, when Klein looks for his go-to guy, it's number 19.
Well, and Coach Barnes has a tremendous amount of confidence in his senior quarterback. So Los Alamitos threatening here in the first quarter. They're going to go for the corner, and it is Childs. And Childs, will he draw the flag, or was that just incidental contact?
I think they're going to just call it incidental contact. You know, it's one of the funny things is that when you get a game like this, it almost seems like the referee's a little more reluctant to pull the flags out of their pockets. They really don't want to affect the game.
Let them play.
Yeah.
Well, that'll bring up a 2nd down and 10. So Los Alamitos looking to hit pay dirt. Good coverage there on Childs. Wideouts are split. Childs and Tripp on the near side. Bagley, the lone setback. They're going to go back to the screen. Childs picks up a block, has a little bit of running room, cuts it in.
Touchdown, LaSalle!
First points of the game with 6:41 here in this crosstown rivalry matchup. Los Alamitos puts 6 on the board.
Beautiful little bubble screen here. You're going to see just Jeff Klein step back. 1, 2, 3, pop, throw the ball over. There's Childs with the ball. Orozco comes across, just flattens the guy, and then there's great downfield blocking by Tripp, and it's 6 points LaSalle.
So for Jeremy Childs, that is his 7th touchdown of the year. And again, this young man only a sophomore. Gamarnik with the extra point. That is good. So with 6:41 left in this first quarter, Los Alamitos takes the ball, drives the field, puts the points up, and I guess the biggest distraction on that is the injury to John McDaniel.
Yeah, and hopefully he's going to be all right. He's sitting on the table there, and the trainer's talking to him. We'll have to see whether they start stripping the gear off of him. Well, I don't think Coach Barnes could have scripted this any better. Run off about 5.5 minutes off the clock, spread the offense out all over, have the defensive coordinator for the Aztecs start to have to think about which guy is he going to cover and throw a little confusion at him and put 7 points on the board. Now we have to see what the Aztecs are going to do.
Well, absolutely, and this is a game of adjustments, and I think the adjustment that Los Alamitos made, and I'm sure planned before this game, is that they were going to take away that heavy rush, that blitz that Esperanza capitalized on last week with the short little screen passes and just eliminate that at the line.
Yeah, that's part of it. Also, I have to say, too, I think there's probably a world of difference between Los Al's O-line and Edison's O-line.
Good point.
Of course, now the question for the Los Al defense here is going to be, you've got 3 great running backs on the Aztec side, and they will be shuttling them then in and out so that you're going to have some fairly fresh legs throughout the whole game.
Back deep for the Aztecs on the near side, number 1, Mike Davis, 190-pound junior. And on the far side, Michael Kirshner. He's the sophomore that came in and has done so well, taking over for the injury to Wildenstein. And there goes Kirshner up and over, but not a bad coverage there for the Griffin special teams.
No, nice coverage by the Griffins, although you saw there was a little bit of slippery footing out there. We walked the field earlier tonight. For all the rain that we had last night, the field's in good shape. We're not going to have a mud bowl.
Well, there we have Taloa. He's the big guy for the Esperanza Aztecs, 1,122 yards. He's got his running backs, Wildenstein and Snyder. Hill is the accomplished wide receiver. And you see that front offensive line. They are solid and they are good. And they open some big holes for these running backs.
Oh, we have personal foul on the sideline. Now it's going to be interesting to see who it's called on.
Well, you would think that potentially Los Alamitos maybe laid a hit. Yep. Appears they're calling Randy Estes, number 24. Let's see what the call is. You see one of the defensive coordinators. So early on, maybe the excitement and the energy that the defense was storing up as they were watching the offense drive down the field, getting a little out of control. And let's look at the defense. Cherie, Filkins, Martinez, and Dolas, the front 4. Flores checks in for the injured Doby, and of course Johnson and Olmstead. And then Estes and Dykes. Dykes takes over for Prescott, and the 2 corners, Mentor and Cason. And I'll tell you, these guys, well, I'll tell you, you got a Taloa strong arm in the Aztec QB. Let's see how the secondary is tested as Taloa goes to the air, goes downfield.
Big 92 is tight end. Boy, a guy plays defensive line and tight end.
Holy mackerel.
Ryan Davis. Wow, that's a different look. Now, here's where you see where one of the things I think we were talking about before the game, Fritz, was, you know, you can't make mistakes in this game. These teams are both too good. You get a little over-exuberance. I mean, Randy Estes made a great tackle on that play, held the running back at the line of scrimmage, but unfortunately the 15 yards allowed him to move, and now there's another first down.
Well, Coach Meek said that you cannot make mistakes against Los Al, and the same goes for the Griffins. And there you see the Aztecs capitalizing on that personal foul, and they're about ready to move it across midfield. And that is almost picked off. The intended receiver was Adam Hill.
Great play by Antoine Cason there. In fact, I think if Hill hadn't come back and tried to strip the ball away from Cason, it would have been an interception.
Well, Anton Cason, 3 interceptions on the year. He almost had his 4th.
Yeah, here you see they're looking for Hill all the way. Kason goes up, gets the inside. Yeah, Hill just strips the hands off the ball. Boy, that was great play by Antoine.
Well, and Adam Hill turning into the defender on that play. So that'll bring up a second down. Hill, the near side receiver. Single set back, and oh boy, what a hit. And Los Alamitos covering there big time, but that first hit
Rich,
you were asking
me before the game, did I think the guys would be excited for this game? I think we just saw the answer. Wow, that was a pop.
Michael Kirchner there, the sophomore, takes the handoff and gets popped.
Oh, right there.
Olmsted.
That was Olmsted. Nice stuff by Donnie Olmsted to stop all momentum. And then we have another one come in there from Estes, it looks like. Boy, these guys are hitting.
Sorry, I miscalled that. That was Dustin Snyder that took the ball. Los Alamitos covering up on that. Tolo is going to be back passing. Receivers are all covered there. Flores,
nice job on the coverage there on number 2 for Esperanza. And that's Jason Thompson, yeah. Of course,
Jason Thompson on the crossing pattern there probably wouldn't have been enough for the first down, especially with the loss on the play before. So that'll bring in the punt team. Back for Los Alamitos is Brandon Tripp, and he will stand on his 23-yard line.
Oh, here's an opportunity. Wow.
That ball fielded off the ground.
Okay, Tripp's not going to get many yards. I mean, there was obviously a hard punt rush on that one. But I tell you what, boy, when anytime you see a long snapper skip a ball to a punter and you have a punt rush going on, there's a real opportunity to block a punt.
Sean Wildenstein there handling the punting duties for the Aztecs. So Los Alamitos defense holds, scores 7-0. We are at 5:07 in the first quarter. Started to see the Aztecs defense tighten up a little bit. And Los Alamitos will get their second possession here in the first half of this game. They're going to give it to Bagley. Bagley finding another little hole, bounces outside, bounces inside, into the secondary, still fighting for yardage.
And number 91, it looks like, for the Aztecs is down holding his knee. I'll tell you what, great work by Orozco and Steinhauser on the left side there. Boy, did they open a hole. I think I could have run through that hole.
Well, number 91 is their inside linebacker, and I'll tell you something. This is the number 1 defensive player in tackles with 75 on the season. This would be a huge loss.
Yeah.
Tom Storing.
And boy, I tell you, he was grabbing that knee immediately, and that's not a good sign.
We were talking at the conclusion of last week's game where Los Alamitos was literally filling an emergency room with players, and how Esperanza, at some level, would want to play the Griffins at full strength, and I think the Griffins would feel the same way. So you hate to see a key player in that defensive linebacking core down and potentially out.
Okay, it looks like he's getting up okay now. Yeah, no, he's still not putting any pressure on that leg.
Oh, he wants. I always love it when these guys want to stay in.
Yeah.
It almost looked like he turned to go back to the huddle.
Yeah. Yeah, the trainers have to remind him, no, you have to come to the sideline. That's a rule. He's still hobbling a little bit. I'll tell you, it's not good news for McDaniel on the Los Al sideline. They've got the shoes off right now, and he's sitting there, and looks like he's got someone just talking to him, standing beside him.
One of the wackier plays and stories you will ever hear, last week, John McDaniel was injured during the warm-ups and did not play against Huntington Beach. So, unfortunately for him, the biggest game of Sunset League play, he will be on the sideline. Bagley.
Another good run for about 5 yards by Ryan Bagley. I'll tell you what, Bagley is really a very good running back, and people don't realize it. He runs low, he keeps his upper body down, and he's very shifty, very hard to grab hold of him. You have to make a clean tackle on him.
Well, that'll bring up a second down and leave about 6 to go. Ryan Bagley on the season, 477 yards and a 6.3 average, 4 touchdowns. Not too bad. Clock continues to run. We are at 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Klein looking to go to the air. We have a flag on the play.
Doesn't
Pass
matter.
is complete.
It's going to be called holding.
And
now we have a
play.
personal foul against the Aztecs. Oh, that's going to be big time. Chad Halandoni. Boy, I tell you, well, we knew that the excitement was going to be going on both sides, and the guys would be a little hyped up. Now it's going to be interesting how you call this, because I think you have to call both of them because the personal foul occurred after the play.
Well, let's see as the referees sort this one out. The pickup would have been enough for the first down. However, it appears that in the backfield there of the Griffins, that would likely be a holding call.
Yeah, and the thing is, usually you do a hold from the point of where the infraction was, so that would be about 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, which they're marking off right now. And then I think they're going to turn around and walk back 15 yards the other way. So the referee gets a little stroll on the field.
Well, so the net gain is very close to where that, well, let's see, we're having a little trouble with our
It looks like it's going
angle.
to be about 2nd and 9 now. Looks like they probably lost about 2 yards on the play.
Clock is under 4 minutes.
Yeah, 2nd and long 8.
It'll remain 2nd down.
Well, basically a do-over.
So 2nd down and 8. Los Alamitos 7-0. Marched right down on their first possession. And the seesaw battle continues as Los Alamitos breaks to the line. Scoreboard now shows 2nd and 9, and Klein from the shotgun. Go to Tripp. Tripp picks up a few before he's taken down.
Yeah, looks like he got about 4 or 5 yards on that play. Again, just the same old thing. Use the outside, grind it out, burn time off the clock. Just don't try to challenge the middle.
Well, and as we've seen and you commented, Bagley straight up the middle, or even Klein for that matter, has been tight, but the screen pass has been spreading things out, and so far, the defense has not gotten to Klein. So the short pass is working, and the ball is moving. 3:12 left in the first quarter. Klein from the gun. Klein around the end. Experiencing pressure, does get around the corner, and looks like he's got enough for the first down.
Yeah, excellent play by Jeff. Again, that's where the fact that you have a mobile quarterback is just so important. Defensive line actually got a little bit of a rush on the outside with the one player out there. Brought a linebacker up, but it looks like we're going to have a callback. No, okay, they call it first down, yeah. And but Jeff has enough mobility and enough speed to get around those guys, pick up about 7 yards and get the first down.
Well, and I think he's deceptive. At 6'2" and 190 pounds, he appears to be a big target, but very athletic around the corner. We've seen him run some fake handoffs in for touchdowns. 37 carries, 221 yards, 4 TDs on the season rushing. Fields this one on the ground, gets it out to Bagley. Bagley's got a blocker. Bagley cuts it up, and a play that looked like it could have easily been busted maybe picks up 2.
Yeah, picks up a couple yards. Orozco there does a nice block to clear a lane for Bagley on that play. That's a quick setup play. I mean, that's one where you're seeing if anybody's asleep on the cornerback position. Yeah, talking about Klein as a quarterback, I'd say probably the guy I'd compare him to in college would be like Brad Van Pelt, who plays for Colorado State. Very athletic, will put it down and run with it, and can throw the ball well, too.
So that'll bring up a 2nd down and 8. And they're going to give it to Bagley, and Bagley gets hammered at the line of scrimmage and stays on his feet.
Wow, great second effort by Ryan Bagley. I tell you what, when number 95 there, boy, he's a substitute in. These guys are bringing in people from all over. Okay, Scott Wilder, 5'9", 185-pound senior, came in, did a big hit there on Ryan Bagley. I thought he was down, and he kept his feet. Again, that's a low center of gravity, and he keeps his feet moving.
Great balance.
Yeah, I think Fritz tonight we're going to see a lot of stunting from Esperanza. You know, these guys, they're not fat defensive linemen. These guys are in shape. I mean, they have a very intensive weightlifting program in the offseason. You're going to see a lot of crosses, a lot of guys, in fact, even coming in on veers from the far side.
Minute 34 left here in this first quarter, and we have a flag.
Delay of game, most likely, because that's the back judge throwing it.
Delay of game against Los Alamitos.
Well, and for Los Alamitos, with now they're showing 3rd and 8.
Yep. Yeah, I'll
with
say
the
this
penalty.
is the only thing with having a quarterback come over the sideline all the time. Sometimes you just lose track of when the referee starts the clock.
When are they going to get the receivers in the helmet, and we can eliminate that for good?
I think the XFL tried that, didn't it, Fritz?
The XFL tried a lot of things.
Yeah.
Klein going downfield, and that is looks
incomplete.
like not reeled in, and the receiver there was tripped. In fact, that was one of the furthest downfield throws that we've seen Klein throw all night. And Los Alamitos finds their drive stalled, and they will punt it away.
I think that may have been Jeff's first incompletion of the night.
Now they say it was incomplete.
Dolis will come in for the Griffins, and back for the Aztecs is Mike Davis. And Davis stands in on his 17-yard line.
Mike Davis deep for the Aztecs.
Dolis gets it away, will probably get a roll, fielded by Davis, and actually creates a bit of a return, a nice tackle there by number 8.
And Greg Johnson's going, okay, I left
Mentor.
my sock somewhere on the field there. As good a player as he is, boy, Davis just put a great juke on him, but everybody else was downfield, covered it real well, only got about 3 yards run back.
Mentor in on the stop there. So 1:18 left here in the first quarter. Los Alamitos holding on to their 1-touchdown lead, and Rick Taloa and his high-powered offense comes back to the field, and there's the give to Wildenstein.
Boy, once again, Randy Estes, just a solid tackler. I mean, boy, when he gets a guy, he just wraps him up, takes him down. Coach Barnes was speaking at the Booster Club meeting, and he just said, yeah, Randy's probably the best tackler they've ever had at the school.
Well, and last week we saw, as we are now down under a minute here.
Second down for the Aztecs.
See if this will get off one more play here. But Randy Estes was interviewed at the end of the Huntington Beach game, and what a great kid. Going to the air again. Taloa, pass is complete on the far side. And that again is
number 83, John Pace.
Their tight end, yes, the 225-pound senior.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'll have to say, Esperanza, they really do use their tight ends as receivers. A lot of schools, they're really blocking, backs that are up on the line, put in motion just to distract, but they make good use of them on the Esperanza side. Oh boy, we got to get somebody off the field quick here, unless.
Well, and just off the field is one of the Griffins, and that's going to go right up the middle to Wildenstein.
Yeah, that was Jark coming off field, and they were bringing Tripp on board.
Sean Wildenstein experienced a knee injury in the opening game against Dominguez, sat out for 5 weeks, and Michael Kirchner came in, the sophomore, did a wonderful job, put 424 yards on the board, and actually the first game back for Wildenstein was last week against Edison. So Wildenstein still kind of getting his feet wet, if you will. And he gets the handoff there.
Boy, this is real interesting what the coaches are doing here. They're almost waiting to the last second to substitute in a defensive lineman and bring out the extra DB. I mean, I saw Eric Jark there run on right at the last second, and he helped make the tackle on the play. So obviously the coaches are seeing something they like to read there that says, hey, here's a run play coming at you.
Well, that brings to a conclusion the first quarter here at Bradford Stadium. Los Alamitos still hanging on to that 1-touchdown lead. Take a look now as we're waiting for the change of field position, the CIF top 10. And up top there you have Long Beach Poly, and they had a great blowout game against Compton last night.
That's going to be the whole Moore League for them. Yeah, the moral victory for any Moore League team is, are they going to get 3 touchdowns on Poly? But I tell you, the one that's going to drop is going to be Loyola. 2 losses in a row. St. John Bosco had a great game that was televised last night.
And then Santa Margarita.
Yeah, you're going to see Survey. Probably the loser of the Los Al Esperanza game is going to drop probably below Servite and Mater Dei. And then you're going to see Santa Margarita and Loyola really drop on the standings.
Yeah, Long Beach Poly, the only black eye in their schedule so far this year was the blowout they experienced that De La Salle handed to them.
Yeah, but I tell you, I don't know anybody in the country short of maybe a Division I college football team that's going to beat De La Salle this year.
I was thinking of the Rams.
Yeah. There's a handoff to the right side.
Got a flag on the play, and still running is Wildenstein. So that knee, in fact, I asked Coach Meek about it. I said, is he 100%? He said, no doubt about it, and we saw the power in his legs. But this one may be coming back. Let's see what the flag is in the backfield.
Yeah, this is in the area typically where you expect that you're going to have a holding play.
And that is the call, holding. So that will come back. And as you sense the momentum, the Aztecs picking up a little bit of it here. However, a penalty calling it back.
Yeah, again, it's the mistake issue. But I tell you also, Fritz, the thing is, too, I mean, the Griffins have to figure out how to stop the run. It's not just for this game. You get into the playoffs, there's a couple teams that are going to play. They are going to run on the Griffins. And especially if you get to a Poly with their running backs that they have, there's no doubt about it. So I imagine Coach Scherer during the halftime is going to make some adjustments and probably try to make some adjustments mid-game right now. But stopping Wildenstein is going to be critical.
Well, back to action. 3rd down and 17 as Rick Taloa steps to the line. Man in motion is Wildenstein. They're going to go pass. That is a comeback. Let's see if they call
Brandon
it a
Wiener,
catch.
yes. Oh, no, that's Adam Hill.
Adam Hill comes back to get that one. Great coverage by the Griffins. Taloa had trouble finding someone open, but Hill very smartly comes back.
Yeah, Hill did a nice job here. I mean, you know, kind of the rule of thumb is when your quarterback gets into trouble, start coming back to him to give him the option so he can release the ball. Good hard-throwing ball. Hill's the only guy that can catch it. Antoine Cason had great coverage on him.
But nevertheless, that will bring up a kicking scenario. Los Alamitos puts on the big rush, and fair catch there is Brandon Tripp. So, although the Aztecs had something going, Los Alamitos defense stiffens, and let's go downstairs to John Bowles.
Guys, some more bad news to report from the field. Jonathan McDaniel, center, who went out of last week's game with a concussion pregame, has torn a knee tonight, possibly a partial tear. They're not sure, but he's out for the game. Jonathan McDaniel out. Steve Snyder in at center for the 2nd consecutive week. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, John Bowles. And that O-line, maybe we jinxed them. We said they were back at 100%. However, the depth of this team this year, a lot of players coming in secondary positions that really would start in normal scenarios. And we have a great pickup here. Pass is complete to Brandon Tripp and finds a lot of room around the near side.
Yeah, and that was a great block by Jeremy Childs to spring him free because there was a Aztec cornerback coming up on there, and Jeremy just kind of gave the guy a little nudge to get him out of the way, and Brandon just made for the sideline. Good play. Oh, this is sad to hear about McDaniel. I mean, he has really worked hard to earn his starting position, and I hate to hear there's a potential partial tear.
Well, we were giving quite a few injury updates last week, and thank goodness a lot of them came out better than they were initially diagnosed on the sideline. So we'll continue to get information as Klein goes to the option, pitches it to Bagley. And Bagley stutter steps, picks up 2 on the play.
And number 92, Ryan Davis for Esperanza is down on the field. He's a little shooken up right now.
Well, and also shaken up there is number 95 hobbling, and that's Scott Wilder.
Well, I'm going to tell you something right now, Fritz. While the Los Al O-line may be a little banged up, looks like they're able to pound out a little bit of pain themselves.
Now, the interesting thing is, will Wilder stay in? He is barely able to walk back to the huddle. And I got to tell you, some of these kids with the heart they play with, you've got to drag them off the field. So it'll be interesting to watch his matchup here this next play. Klein, shotgun, fakes it to Bagley, goes to Tripp. And there's a nice gainer. Tripp still on his feet, the 207-pound senior. What a great play. Play action to Bagley. Gets all of the defense going to the far side and comes back to Tripp.
Nice play over here. Here you see, okay, this is Tripp coming up. And you've got offensive linemen out there leading him. And I've got to say it was my own son, and I'm going to have to razz him a little bit about this one after the game because he blocked like a wide receiver. It was a great shadow block, but he did get the guy out of the way.
Fresh set of downs for the Griffins. They give it to Bagley. Bagley looking for some room, picking up yards.
Boy, Ryan Begley's just doing a great job. He has got such heart. I mean, you look like you've got him wrapped up, and he grinds out another 2-3 yards on you. I mean, this is a real advantage for Los Al right now. Just grind, 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 wear out these defensive linemen for Esperanza.
Well, hats off to Coach Barnes in his 24th season. Great play calling, mixing things up. We've seen some new wrinkles in plays. The short pass is keeping Esperanza on their heels, and Los Alamitos threatening again as we have 9:30 here left in the first half. Fakes it to Bagley. Klein. Pass is complete. Get you a number here in a moment. That is number 85,
Montoya.
David Montoya. So Montoya taking over for Prescott, gets his first catch of the game.
Yeah.
And nice pickup.
Yeah, in fact, David Montoya, he's been waiting all season to get some varsity time. I mean, he's been doing great on the JVs. In fact, if Rashid was not playing for Los Al, David would have been a starter all season. It's good to see him getting out there and getting some receptions.
Well, we talked about the depth on O-line. We've got depth at just about every position. As soon as Elway is healthy, we'll have 2 deep starters at the quarterback position. Klein under some pressure. He's just going to run it out of bounds. Wisely run it out of bounds. There's the maturity of Klein not forcing something.
Yeah, but I'm just surprised he didn't throw it deep out the back of the end zone on that one. That took about a 4 or 5 yard loss on that play. I think he might have been just better served. He was near the sideline. He was out of the pocket. They couldn't call a grounding call. He should have just thrown it high and out to the sideline. That's okay. So far, he's been on fire with only one
One incomplete. Yes,
yeah.
No kidding. Second down, 14. Going back to the air, and I'll tell you, the Aztecs were threatening on that. They brought up number 1, Mike Davis, and number 3, Steve Kretschmar, and I'll tell you what, they're starting to smell out that screen pass.
Yeah, and, you know, I think they saw something there, and it's a setup play. The only risk you have when you have that little bubble screen out there like that is the fact is that you have 2 guys out there. You have 1 receiver leading as the blocker, you have 1 as the receiver, and if your cornerbacks and safeties come up hard on the play, it's not going to go for any yardage, and in fact, it's a very risky play for being set for a pick.
Well, let's see if the defense presses.
Okay, Orozco moved there, unfortunately. Yeah, we had motion on the line. We're going to move it back 5 yards. Okay, what's critical about this is that now it's going to be 3rd and 20, and it's going to be on about the 25-yard line, which means we're getting towards the edge of the field goal zone if we have to get to it on 4th down.
Gamarnik, a perfect 4 for 4, 100% with his field goal kicking. 40 yards is his long. Actually leads the Griffins in scoring.
Yeah, it's on the 27-yard line. Okay, so we'll have to see what happens here on this play.
Child's the only near side receiver. Klein looking downfield. Pass is complete to Childs across the middle. Childs still on his feet. And you can say one thing, they're now in field goal range, and let's see where the mark is.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be on about the
11-yard
line, yeah. Okay, let's watch the replay here. And Jeff does a great job here. He has real pocket presence. I mean, it's collapsing around him, but he steps up, looks for Childs downfield, and then Jeremy does a smart play. He runs back to the middle of the field to set up his guy for the field goal.
So Klein will hold. Gamarnik punts it away. The snap got a little
good.
high.
All right. Excellent work.
5 for 5, Gamarnik on the season. So that puts up another 3. A drive that was stalled with penalties and actually being run out of bounds for loss of yardage. But the nice pickup by Childs and Klein. And we are at 10-0 with 8:25 left in the first half.
Yeah, I'll give real credit to Klein and Gamarnik on that one because that was a high snap and looked like that might almost be a broken play. Jeff did a great job hauling it down, and Kevin, another nice job also by delaying his step up to wait for the ball to be set. This is 10-0 right now. Tell you what, it's not anywhere near where anyone starts feeling comfortable yet.
I was actually going to look at, so far this year, Esperanza has put up 246 points, and I don't know if they've been shut out in the first quarter yet. I'll try to get some of that information for you.
And I'm pretty sure they haven't been shut out in the first half.
Average scoring for Esperanza in the first quarter has been 6 points. The second quarter all year long has been their big scoring opportunity, nearly 14 points put up as an average so far this year. So if they're going to do something, they've got 8:25, and they're not going to do it on this play, as that one sails well into the end zone.
Nothing like a successful field goal to get a kicker a little bit adrenaline going and pop one out the back of the end zone. Nice job by Kevin Gamarnik there. Well, here's a big series coming up here, Fritz, because if Los Al can hold Esperanza on this series and force a punt or a turnover and then possibly get another score on the board, this is going to have big impact, because going in by being up either possibly 13 or 17-0 at halftime, especially in one of these games, that's a real advantage.
Rick Taloa steps to the line. 6'4", 230-pound senior, and that is going to be an end-around handoff. Number 2, Thompson there, the ball carrier, so a new wrinkle there for the Aztecs, and a nice gainer there by Thompson.
Yeah, it was a good 7-yard gain there, it looked like. No, they're calling a 5-yard gain. I'll tell you what, Antoine Cason, though, he did a great job, stayed home, forced the play back into the middle where Greg Johnson could come in and make the tackle. Well, we're seeing a lot of excitement right now, and a lot of cheering, yelling, and it sounds like maybe that the Angels might have just gone ahead in the ball game.
Well, for those of you who don't know, the Angels are playing at home Game 6 against the San Francisco Giants as we go back to action there. Look at the running. Well, there's Estes in a little bit of his competitive fire, and likewise, number 24 on the other side, Dustin Snyder. Those guys will have fun, because that's only beginning.
Yeah, I think this is the only thing I'd have to say that, you know, Randy's going to have to be careful of. I mean, they're going to go after him. He's going to be a target for Esperanza tonight. They know he's one of the key players for Los Al, and so he's just going to have to stay cool.
So, to finish my prior thought, the Angels just got on the board, and the reaction from the crowd you heard.
Okay, we have a little delay run there. Number
Nice
24.
hand up the middle to Snyder. So Snyder.
Oh, that was Kirshner. Boy, I tell you got two runners with almost similar numbers. I hate this.
Well, Kirshner again, this is third start of the season, even though we are into the seventh game.
Yeah.
424 yards for Kirshner. So the sophomore really, whoops.
Nobody offsides. No, we got a single back set here. Handoff, again to Kirshner. Nice play by Los Al. It's going to depend where the spot was, but it looks like it's going to be about 1 yard short. Number 97, Eric Jark, looks like he got in there and stopped Kirshner on that play.
I should say Wildenstein was the player that was out with knee injury for 5 weeks, and it was actually Kirshner that came in, got some playing time week 1, and has been absolutely incredible. 165-pound sophomore. To think that we've seen this production and we will see him for another 2 years, Esperanza has a lot to look forward to.
Oh, here's Wildenstein.
Wildenstein showing us why he had the starting position to get going this year, and that is the biggest gain ripped off by the Aztecs thus far.
Yeah, and you got to expect, I mean, Coach Meek and his staff, they're not going to just sit down and let Los Al roll on this play. And also Wildenstein, I mean, this guy has to have a lot of pent-up energy from having to sit out for 4 or 5 weeks. Here you see, nice kick out on the right side there. Little missed tackle there, another missed tackle. Wildenstein just dodging and bobbing. And then, of course, we have Flores and Estes once again coming up making the tackle.
And we have whistles now.
And we have probably motion on the Esperanza offensive line, because the Los Al defensive line stood up immediately and started pointing at either one of the center or the guard.
Well, that's procedure against the Aztecs. So what was a wonderful gain by Wildenstein will be set back a little bit, and very important here with 5:46 left in the first half. If Esperanza wants to walk into the locker room with some points on the board, they need to capitalize on this play. They're keeping it on the ground so they don't have that quick strike that Los Alamitos does. Taloa to the air. Across the middle. Intended receiver on that was Thompson.
But nobody was there.
Nice pressure by the Griffins.
In fact, I'm not sure if DJ Dykes probably didn't have the best opportunity to try and catch that ball. It was good pressure by the Los Al defensive line on that play. In fact, they got in there so quick at first that I thought there might be a screen pass coming up, but Taloa stood in the pocket and looked downfield.
Scoreboard shows second down 15, 5:25 in the first half. Taloa, Hill on the near side, receiver. Wildenstein in the backfield. Taloa with plenty of time, puts it up. This could be a pick ball. And
great play by DJ Dykes on that one, Fritz. Boy, he had it covered all the way. Saw the ball coming, just got in the way and just put his hand up and knocked the ball down. Excellent work.
Dykes case on back, and that was double coverage. In fact, overthrew Hill. Hill almost went back to that defensive position. There you see defensive coordinator Barry Shearer talking it over with Coach Barnes.
No, that's actually Esperanza's side.
Well, before they
cut
across, I'm sure Coach Barnes wanted to make sure that if Esperanza's going to put it in the air and try and strike Pater, that we had that well defended, which it was.
3rd and 15. Got to get some pressure here.
Cason defending Hill, the receiver, and Hill drops his helmet. He crosses the 20-yard line.
And it looks like it's going to be a first down for the Aztecs. Well, I tell you, that's a nice comeback by Esperanza because that was a long 3rd down situation. Here you see their offensive line gives good time. Good throw to the outside. Yep. Hill just does a quick cut, got some space on Cason. Shows a nice little move, but Antoine stays his ground, and then body parts are flying everywhere.
Well, I'll tell you, a nice little drive being put together here by Esperanza with 5:09 left in the first half. This has been their big quarter, averaging 14 points.
First and 10, Esperanza.
Down 10-0. Handoff on the far side is to Wildenstein, and Wildenstein is pushed back, stood up.
Chris Cherie did a nice job of fighting off the pressure of the blocker on him and just absolutely grabbed Wildenstein and threw him back down for a good body slam.
Offensive coordinators, far side, Coach Meek. Final game of this rivalry's final season. He'll be on the sideline. We talked to him during the pregame warm-ups. You know, have the kids been inspired to play hard for you? And he kind of downplayed that, but you know darn well that these kids want to send him out with a winning rivalry here. Wildenstein finding some running room, spinning off, driving the pile ahead, picks up another 3 or 4.
Boy, I tell you, that's a great 3rd and 4th effort by Wildenstein. I mean, there must have been 6 guys hanging on him, and he just kept driving those legs forward. Looks like it's going to be 1st and goal for Esperanza here. Yeah, it's kind of interesting when you look at Coach Meeks, Coach Barnes. I mean, 2 guys that have had great programs over the year, and really a lot of similarities between them. You know, they don't really want the limelight. They'd rather have their kids get all the press and all the recognition, and they stay in the background pretty much.
And timeout called by Hill. So the Aztecs, understanding that this is an important drive for them, 4 minutes and 2 seconds left. Esperanza would love to walk out, finish at least this drive. They may not get the ball back if they don't put points on the board here in the first half, if they get stalled.
Yeah, in fact, this would be critical for Esperanza because if they can put points on the board here, that'll leave.
Let's look at the passing stats in the Sunset League, and you have Grady there at the top, Taloa not too far behind, and now that Grady is in the Sunset League, we may see some of those numbers flatten out a bit. But 1280, impressive. Taloa, 1122. And then still, Klein and Elway, you add those 2 numbers up, and as one, you've got a great passing game that ranks right up there with the big boys.
Yeah, with everybody. And that's what everybody forgets is the fact that Los Al's been splitting time with the quarterback because usually you know, first thing you do is you look for that stats page in the paper when it comes out on Tuesday or Wednesday, and you're surprised you don't see a Los Al quarterback at the top of the page.
Well, and Elway out with the separated shoulder against Carson. He will be due back here within a week or two. Taloa, play action, rolls out, nobody to throw to, under pressure. He's a big load to bring down.
Yeah.
And Flores and Estes in on the tackle.
Yeah, Taloa got a couple yards on it. Yeah, he is. He's a big guy. I mean, he's about, what, 6'3", 230. And the thing with him, though, is he's not real mobile. You know, it's that you think of some of the big quarterbacks that are playing in college right now, like a Gary Godsey and some of the others that are just big guys to try and bring down. Taloa, once you flush him out of the pocket, you got a chance of taking him down for a loss.
Well, on the season, he has carried the ball 8 times for 40 yards and only 1 touchdown. So you probably will not see that as the primary option if receivers are covered, and that's Taloa tucking it under. That's the handoff to
number 3,
Steven Kretschmar. And we got bodies flying.
Yeah, that was a full house backfield there. Looks like it was about a gain of maybe about half a yard, if that much.
We are under 3 minutes. Ball on the 5-yard line.
Okay, Cameron Filkins coming in here. Kind of getting the big boy package in here since we're on the goal line. Okay, now we pull the full house backfield out and we come back in with basically their normal backfield. So it's going to be interesting to see what they run here.
Well, and the Aztecs would prefer not to walk away with 3 here. Now we've got timeout assessed against the Griffins, so the Griffins want to talk about it with 2:32 left here in the first half.
Yeah, it's really critical here because basically with 3rd and 5, you've got to hold them. I mean, you've got to leave them with 4th and 4 or 4th and 5, or better yet, if you can get a sack in the backfield and force them to say, okay, we've got to take the 3 points here and just wait for the kickoff in the second half. I have a feeling if the Aztecs get down to the 1 or 2 yard line, they will go for it on 4th down. And to be honest, Fritz, one of the things, if you've seen Los Al's run defense this year, I mean, we've been susceptible when they're in these short yardage situations at the goal line.
Good point. Los Alamitos at 5-0-1. This is week 2 of Sunset League play. Esperanza comes in with a 6-0 record. Los Alamitos only giving up on the season 112 points all year long. And for the Aztecs, they've only given up 96 points this year, so the defense has really been playing well for the Aztecs and
well for the Griffins too. I mean, both defenses are pretty stingy. When you have pretty much twice as many points scored for against what you've allowed, you've got a pretty good D going out there.
Well, that'll bring up 3rd and 5 after the timeout. Big play for the Aztecs, big play for the Griffins. Taloa under center. It's going to look
got a man in motion, and it's a tight end.
Touchdown Aztecs, and that will go to John Pace, the big tight end, 225-pounder, and you said it early, the Aztecs like to use their big boy in a standout receiving position.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, when you watch on the replay here, when you have a 6'4" tall quarterback, big guy like Taloa is, and you run a big tight end, you just throw right over the top of the middle there, and the guy just slants in real quick. I mean, it's a very fast action play, very tough to defend.
The extra point is up. Brandon Weiner.
No good.
That is not good. And how many times in a tight game have we seen that dinky little extra point become a huge issue in the final analysis?
That's Bobby Bowden this year.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, when he had to try and go for a field goal at the end of the game, and he would have had a tied game going into overtime. Jeff Minturn got great penetration on that one. In fact, I'm not so sure Jeff was by the ball by the time it was kicked. I mean, he really came in there quick. That's really surprising to see Brandon Weiner miss one. He's very consistent.
Well, there you have it, 10-6. We are at 2:28 in the first half, and I'll tell you something, that is a ton of time for the Griffins, and you can bet John Barnes is sharpening the pencil. He wants to get some more points on the board, and he's got the staff and talent to do it. Back deep for Los Alamitos will be Childs in Estes.
Yeah, I'd say knowing that he has to kick off to the Aztecs for the second half, Coach Barnes probably would like to try and get some points on the board before this series closes out.
Griffin standing on the 3-yard line. And Brandon Weiner will tee it up. No, correction.
Yeah, that's Weiner.
Oh, Weiner. Okay, there he goes. I thought someone else was going to kick that one off. And gets it deep. Estes will take this one at the 1-yard line. Estes gets a full head of steam. He ran one back last week. We have a penalty on the play. Let's see what this is. I have a suspicion what it may be.
Yeah, it's going to be either blocking in the black, illegal block, or a hold on Los Al. Anytime you see a flag pretty much on a run back, it's not good for the returning team.
So penalties affecting
holding.
both teams.
Boy, that's too bad because that takes a great run back by Randy Estes. I mean, where was he at? About the 44-yard line? Or 34-yard line. Now it's going to move back to the 24-yard line.
2:21 in the second quarter left.
And no, folks, it's not getting foggy out here. The burger stand is really burning them.
Either that or get over there and buy them so we can clear off some of that grease. Memorable games at this stadium, the Mud Bowl.
I was going to say, Chris, boy, this is a new wrinkle on trying to get your opponent a little unnerved.
That'll be 1st and 10 for Klein. Klein bobbles it, gets it to Bagley. Bagley finds a little bit of running room.
Oh, Bagley kicks outside. Oh, and he fumbles the ball.
It looks like Esperanza may have ended up with it. His back was turned. Someone came in, and you see Bagley there.
And Esperanza comes up with the ball, number 96. And that is Mike Swanson. Oh, Bagley just had a great run here on the outside. You see he kicks through the hole, evades the tackle there, keeps coming upfield, has the ball there, and just gets number 1 there, who is Mike Davis, just punches his helmet right into it. I tell you what, that is tough to hang on to a ball when a guy puts a helmet right on your arm like that.
Well, and turnovers always play a role in games, especially games that are as big as this. And with 2:12, now it is advantage Aztecs to try and put some more points on the board before they break for half. So Taloa steps under center. Going back to the air, but they're going to go on the ground. That'll go to number 34, Michael Kirchner, and the sophomore picks up 4.
Yeah, and you see Esperanza's O-line now is exploding out a little bit more. I mean, that's really a big momentum change for him, you know, and that's something that can fire up a O-line, get them a little more excited, start driving a little bit more. I mean, Los Al's this is going to be really where they have to push back and stop Esperanza, take the momentum back away from them.
So Taloa with an opportunity to hit Paydirt. He's going to go to the air. Nice rifle that throws in. That is darn near picked off. And it
was! Well, Randy Estes with a phenomenal pickoff. Oh, we've got to see the replay on that. This is one of the plays of the year for Los Al. Watch this. Okay, we have a play-action fake here. Taloa just rifles the ball downfield. Estes coming across, dives in front, grabs the ball, holds on to it. Phenomenal play by Randy Estes. I'll tell you what, Fritz, if they don't vote him the best defensive back in CIF this year, they're blind.
Well, I'm sure he will get quite a bit of attention, and we aren't done with this season nor this game. And there is Bagley. They go back
Bagley
to him.
again. Okay, and this time Ryan does a good job, holds on to it, just gets tripped up. I'll tell you what, there is something showing on that right side of the O-line for Los Al that they are just blowing holes open in Esperanza right now.
Well, Coach Barnes comes out on the field and says, O-line, get to the ball, let's go. We got 1:27 left in the first half.
Yeah, the fortunate thing is, at least in high school and college ball, when you get a first down, they stop the clock until the chains move. And we have a timeout called by the Aztecs here. Good. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, one of the things that's been really good about Los Al this year has been the depth of the team. You know, even though there's been some injuries in places, these guys have worked together as units, and they've practiced playing other positions so that in case someone did get injured, they could come in, take over, and it would be a seamless changeover. And you're seeing that right now on the O-line for Los Al.
Well, and Estes, another standout player. He could step into just about any position. He'd probably play O-line if he had to.
O-line, yeah. Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see if we get into the playoffs that Randy plays maybe a little bit of running back, too. I know I've seen him in practice being worked at that position.
Well, we'll see him in the jumbo backfield from time to time. So Bagley gets the ball out on a wonderful run as Coach Barnes goes right back to him, gets the ball out to about where he lost it. And for the Aztecs, you wonder, they hadn't been going downfield with too much success. Were they trying to force something as the minutes or seconds were ticking off here in the first half?
I believe they were. I believe they were trying to get another score on the board, and they were saying, okay, let's try and strike quick, knowing that we'll get the ball back in the second half to start with. And I'll tell you what, that's just a momentum killer when you have an interception like that. I mean, here you've had a big play for your team, for the Aztecs, and next thing you know, one play later, you've turned the ball right back over to the other team.
Score is 10-6. Los Alamitos on top. 1:27 left in the first half. One turnover each for the teams. And Bagley, they're going to stay on the ground. And Bagley with another nice gain. Pickup of 11 on the play.
I'll tell you what, I don't know what Snyder, Cluey, and Rollins are doing, but they're just blowing holes open in that right-hand side. I mean, it's like there's just not even a defensive lineman there for the Aztecs.
Well, Los Alamitos in their hurry-up offense. And they run it well. Klein going to the air.
No
Pass
catch, no catch.
Not complete.
Rare incompletion tonight. Jeremy Childs on the sideline, just couldn't hold on to the ball. Probably ruled he didn't have quite control of it before he stepped out of bounds.
1:12. Clock is stopped. Second down and 10.
Pass was intended for Jeremy Childs.
Right there in the huddle, Klein. Wideouts are split 2 and 2. Tripp on the near side. They're going to go to Tripp. And Tripp's going to the air. Across the middle is Childs. Oh, and he missed it.
Gosh. Wow. I tell you what, that is a rare thing to see. Jeremy Childs just absolutely had that ball all the way. I think he just lost his concentration for a second. That is so rare to see. He has such great concentration normally.
Well, let me tell you how effective Brandon Tripp has been. Prior to that pass, he was 2 of 3 and 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
So each pass that was completed for a touchdown. That was maybe a little behind Childs, but you're right. You'll never see Childs drop 2 in a row. Klein, give it to Bagley. Bagley bounces off the line, maybe picks up 1. Clock now down under a minute.
Brian Bagley, the ball carrier. Tackle is made by number 97, Brad Adams.
Okay, and we have what looks like to be about 4th and 8.
Now they're signaling, okay, you got to start the clock. I almost thought that they were signaling a penalty. Clock is continuing to run, so for Los Alamitos.
I have a feeling here, yeah, Los Al's going to take this clock down just about to the, let it run down until they get called for delay of game. Oh, go for the play. Klein looking downfield, pressure on him.
Come
on, Jeff.
Well,
oh, that's got to be a flag. Oh, that is a stupid play. Wow, that is a stupid play by Esperanza. And I'm going to use that word as all its intent. Play was dead. You're now going to give Los Al a 15-yard penalty from where they're at, and you're going to put them in field goal range. For Esperanza, this is critical.
Well, and you've got so much momentum, so much energy as you see Klein running for his life. Play is dead.
Yeah, whistle's already blown on the play.
And that's the big guy, number 99, the 270-pound senior. And that could be costly. We'll see.
Okay, what's going to happen? The Aztecs are still going to get the ball. What they're going to do is mark it off from the line of scrimmage. And what they're going to call it is, since it happened after the play was blown dead, it's an after-the-play foul. So it still will transfer possession to Esperanza. But I tell you, here they go. Instead of having the ball up somewhere near the 50-yard line, now they're going to be starting from probably about their own 25-yard line, it looks like. And really, at this point in time, with 20 seconds, with the DBs that Los Al has, nah, you can't try and throw it long on him. I wouldn't be surprised to see it take a knee time here.
Well, there's 20.2 seconds, so we'll see one more play. Both teams have survived a second half turnover. And Taloa.
Yeah, that's Thompson in motion. Handoff, Wildenstein.
And Wildenstein.
Wildenstein just dragging big Greg Johnson along, and I tell you, if you can do that, you've got pretty strong legs. Because Greg is one big guy.
Greg Johnson, 6'2", 220-pound senior, anchoring that linebacking core. 12.8 seconds now left. And this ought to be the last play. The clock is already underway. Taloa looking to the air. Ball is in the air, and that will, well, I take that back. 3.6 seconds.
Yeah, Taloa looking for a little fade to Brandon Weiner there. Just kind of throws it too far to the outside, doesn't set him up for it. It wouldn't have mattered anyways. Randy Estes was waiting right for it. In fact, it's probably lucky for Brandon Weiner he didn't catch it. Okay, here you see basically prevent defense, although the last time we saw this was in the Hart game.
Well, that's true. And they give it to, nice pick. Well, the prevent
defense. They give it to Wildenstein, and he's running up the sideline. Oh, nice play there, good push, and he's out of bounds, and that ends the half. So the prevent defense did what it was supposed to do. Don't give up the touchdown.
It
give a lot of
bends,
yards.
but it doesn't break.
That's right.
Well, that will bring this matchup to a first half close. Los Alamitos on top by 4, the score at halftime. Los Alamitos 10, the Aztecs of Esperanza 6. Stay with us, folks. I guarantee an exciting second half. Fritz Pollard, Ron Cluey, John Bowles. Stay with us. We'll be back.
This edition of the LATV3's Game of the Week is brought to you by friends and family of the Los Alamitos Football Booster Club and by your friends at McKenna Motors, McKenna Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep at the Pomona Auto Center, McKenna BMW, Porsche, Audi, and Volkswagen at the Norwalk Auto Center, and McKenna Volkswagen and Isuzu on the Beach Boulevard Mile of Cars in Huntington Beach.
Make me an effective instrument of thy peace.
In the defense of the skies that canopy free nations. Instill within me an abiding awareness of my responsibility toward you, my country, and my fellow man.
So guide me daily in each thought, word, and deed, that I may fulfill your will.
For more than 50 years, there's been a place where men and women of integrity have been able to make a difference in the world. We invite you to let your voice be heard in your nation's Air Force.
May these graces abide with me, my loved ones, and all those who share my country's trust.
Okay, people, listen up. Our fugitive has been on the run for 90 minutes. Average foot speed over uneven terrain, barring any injuries, is 4 miles per hour. That's a 6-mile radius. I want checkpoints established at I-95, 495, and over at Route 66. What I need from each and every one of you is a full target search of every gas station, residence, warehouse, farmhouse, hen house, outhouse, and doghouse in that area. Your fugitive has just cashed in his 401k plan, and all he had to do was roll it over. Go get him!
Learn about rollovers and protecting your financial future, and choose to save.
You need a little tie here, Gabe.
Welcome back to Bradford Stadium, ladies and gentlemen. Fritz Pollard, Ron Cluey, John Bowles. We have a 10-6 ball game. Los Alamitos on top of the Aztecs. Let's go downstairs to John Bowles.
Guys, we're down here on that field with three players that would rather have their helmets on and be out there on that field right now. quarterback Justin Elliott. Justin, you got hurt a couple weeks ago. Tell the folks what happened and when you expect you think you might be back.
Just separated my right shoulder, and I should be back. Not against Fountain Valley, but against Marina, so about 2 weeks. So I should be ready to go then.
Well, good luck to you. Rasheed Prescott, man, you took a tough hit last week against Huntington Beach. What happened to you? And you're on crutches tonight. When do you think you might be back?
Well, I tried to jump over a guy, and then I just got a deep thigh bruise, but hopefully I'll be back next week, and if not next week, the week after.
All right, so about 2 weeks for both these guys. And this guy is the bashful one. He didn't want to come on tonight because he wants to get over there and pump these guys up. But Gabe Doby got hurt in the La Habra game. Gabe, tell us what happened to you and when you think you might be back.
Oh, actually, I got hurt in the Huntington Beach game. I got a high ankle sprain. Most likely, I'm hoping to be back on next Monday, next week. So I'm just looking forward to being there. If not, then maybe I'll have to stay out another week. That's about it.
All right, good luck to all you guys. We look forward to seeing you guys back in the lineup real soon. Back to you guys.
Thank you, John Bowles, and we also wish a quick and speedy recovery. A lot of the talents of those young men needed on this field every week, so it'll be good to get them back. And back deep for the Aztecs, number 1, Mike Davis on the far side. Davis will take it on his 1-yard line, and Davis eludes some tackles. Davis still on his feet. We have a flag thrown in there in and around the tackle.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a block in the back. I saw one of the Aztec guys just come charging in there and nail one of the Los Al players. So that's probably going to move the ball back half the distance to the goal. One thing that was really nice to see on that was when you saw how Randy Estes, 2 blockers came up to try and double team him, and Randy just kept fighting off and shifting over so he could fill the lane in there and help assist on the tackle. Boy, that's just good technique, good technique.
Well, Randy Estes, one of the standout juniors on this team, and we will get to see him for another season. So the penalty, reminiscent of how the first half ended for both these teams, takes the Aztecs back to start the third quarter. So Taloa gets the opportunity. That's batted down at the line.
Nice play by Eric Jark there. Got his hands up in the air. Boy, that's just what a defensive lineman's supposed to do. As soon as he sees the quarterback, pull that arm back and cock it to throw. Get your hands up in the air, block the throwing lanes.
Jark, a 6'1", 230-pound senior.
Yeah, here you go. Here you see. Watch him drop back. Jark's just fighting the outside and then just nice jump up, block the ball down. Good work by Eric.
That'll bring up 2nd and 10. In the backfield, Wildenstein. They'll give it to Wildenstein on the draw. Runs right into the line and taken down there nicely by the Griffins.
Yeah, there was a whole host of guys in there. Looked like linebackers, Greg Johnson, maybe Donnie Olmstead, a couple of D linemen, Cherie and Jark on that side. Good team effort by the Griffins.
Well, and what's so dangerous, and we've already seen it from the senior Wildenstein, he is very elusive. He breaks a lot of tackles, and you must wrap him up. Great play there by the Griffins. So that'll bring up a 3rd down and 8 in Los Alamitos. 1 down away from getting this ball back as Taloa goes back. Right over the middle, they go to the big tight end again, and that is John Pace. And we have called his name many times tonight. He's got the touchdown. John Pace picks up the 1st down, moves the chains, and keeps this drive alive.
Yeah, this is just good use of a tight end by the Aztecs. I mean, it's so tough to defend a good tight end because, I mean, he stays in there, he blocks for a couple seconds, you think he's going to hold in for the play, and then he releases and cuts across the middle, and really it's hard to hold someone back to cover him. It's good use. I mean, the Aztecs have a good game plan here by using that tight end.
Well, and Adam Hill, number 20, their standout receiver, has been well covered tonight and picked off. Wildenstein right up the middle, following the surge of his offensive line.
Yeah, and this is just a little bit of smash mouth, offensive line, defensive line, pound at each other right now, about 5 yards. I look for the Aztecs to really try and grind some time off with this play. They're not going to go for a home run. They've got to grind the time off the clock because this may be one of those games where it's been pretty typical of Los Al and Esperanza in the past. Who has the ball last?
Excellent point, and I'll tell you, with just a 4-point lead, you cannot rest on that. This is a very explosive team, and we've seen them match up as Wildenstein gets the call. Wildenstein finding a lane on the outside. You cannot sit on any lead and feel comfortable in this matchup.
Yeah, nice open field tackle by Jeff Minter on that, and just a good little delay, outside play there by the Aztecs. Taloa comes back, holds the ball high, looks like he's going to set up, and then all of a sudden, drops low, hands it off to the Wildenstein, and Wildenstein kicks to the outside.
So that brings up first down. 9:55 left in the third quarter. Hill will line up on the near side receiving position. Taloa steps in. Taloa gives it to Wildenstein, breaks a tackle, turns it up. Flores there almost had him in the backfield, but now we have a flag on the play.
Flag, and boy,
and an injured player.
And that looks like that's Flores possibly who's down on the ground.
Well, let's see if Flores can walk it off. Wildenstein, again, very tough to bring down.
And it's against the Aztecs. Looks like it's going to probably be a personal foul. Flores coming out on this one.
Joshua Jones checks in for the Griffins. So penalties affecting the Aztecs again.
Yeah, and I imagine Coach Meeks has got to be getting a little bit irritated right now with some of his players on his team because he does not like sloppy play. And I got to tell you, Fritz, I mean, personal fouls are sloppy play on either side. It's not something that you need to see. And the other thing is, too, is that you were, talking about a little bit earlier, Wildenstein, you got to wrap him up. I mean, Flores had a great opportunity to drop him in the backfield there, and Wildenstein just, keeps driving those legs, breaks free of the arm tackle, and moves downfield.
Wildenstein on the season, a 5.2 average, 1 touchdown. Keep in mind, though, he sat out 5 weeks. Taloa.
Oh, nice. Great play. Great play by Eric Jark on that. Read the screen pass all the way, dropped right to where the receiver was, and as soon as he got the ball, just hammered him. Okay, and we just had an update from the booth that at the end of the 8th inning, Angels 6, Giants 5. Hopefully they're going to live to play tomorrow.
Game 7 may be around the corner. An exciting time for Orange County and their Angels, never having been to a World Series, and 3 outs away from potentially going to Game 7. We're back to action here. Taloa looking downfield, going across the middle. That is caught.
Caught by Thompson, but great play. Nice wrap up there by number 21, Antoine Cason. That's one of those plays where like it's going to go down as a completion, but really for 2 yards when you needed to get 12.
Well,
watch the replay here.
Get not even back to the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and I've got to say also, you know what? You got to give real credit to the deep coverage for Los Al, because that was actually just a short out route for the quarterback in case he couldn't find anybody downfield. Well, nice play overall.
Cason has been fabulous at the corner position all year. So that'll bring up 3rd down and 11. Big play for the Aztecs. Taloa with a big drop over the middle. Nice coverage there, and they're going to throw the flag. On Hill, the intended receiver. Let's see who was defending on that.
That was Cason. But I'll tell you what, this is one of those where you got to say, okay, you got to wait and see it from the referee's angle, because the guy who threw the flag, I would say, would be the right guy to throw it. I mean, everyone's going to be a little bit upset about it.
Well, there you have it. Huge drop by Taloa.
Then he throws the ball here, comes across. Now, Cason's going to be hard to see if we can pick him up. What you're going to see is Cason just comes across. He's got a hand on the inside. There, you just saw it right there, Fritz, at the tail end of the play. You saw Cason's left arm was wrapped around Hill's body, and that grabbed his arm up, and that's why they're calling pass interference. Good call by the referee.
In fact, so far tonight, not a lot of questionable calls. I think back to the Carson game. That actually was a demo tape on probably one of the worst called games we've seen in a long time. And you even hear Coach Barnes commenting at the midway point about how bad the calls were. Taloa, handoff. That's going to go to Kretschner.
Gets about 3 yards. Yeah, the only thing that you could take away as a point of comfort from the Carson game was, okay, we got those reps for one game. Those poor guys get them for every game.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Well, 4-point lead. Los Alamitos hanging on, but the Aztecs are driving.
In fact, one last point about the Carson game. I think Coach Volnagel made a remark to the head of referees when he was coaching for Carson. He said, instead of 5 guys, why don't you cut it to 3 and teach those 3 how to call a game?
That'll bring up 2nd down and 7 for the Aztecs.
Got a handoff here to Kretschmer. Oh, nice job by the Los Al O-line, and we got another flag. Now, this one's a very strange call, because this came from behind the play. And we see Flores is back in the game.
And it looks like it is against the Aztecs. So this drive has been mixed with flags and then brilliant play by the Aztecs.
Yeah, but I got to say, good play by the Los Al D-line and linebackers on that play. They just stuffed the holes on that one. Looks like, are we going to get a... Yeah, it's a holding call here. Well, if Los Al's starting to get penetration on Esperanza's offensive line, I'm not surprised to see a few more holding calls coming up here, because when an old lineman's getting beat, I mean, that's the one thing he's going to try and resort to.
7:18 in the third.
Second down for the Aztecs.
This has been a seesaw battle. Both of these teams taking a couple of steps forward, one step back. Toloa is going to try and move them ahead. Nice across the middle. That is caught.
That's caught by Brandon Weiner, but I'll tell you what, I am surprised the referee did not throw a holding flag again on this play. I mean, if we can see the replay on this side of the field, it is just blatant how bad the holding is by Esperanza right now.
Weiner, before tonight's contest, 256 yards, an average of 25, actually almost 26, 4 touchdowns. So the big guys in the receiving ranks getting some action tonight. John Pace reeled in some nice pickups, 225-pounder. They're going to give that one to Wildenstein, still on his feet. Wow, what a tough guy to bring down. Now they are in deep to the Griffin territory.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Wildenstein just ran over DJ Dykes on that one, and that doesn't happen too often. I mean, usually DJ is the one doing the hits on the guys. Like I said, Wildenstein's been out for 4 games with a knee injury. You know, he's been seeing the other guys getting the press and getting the accolades. He wants to come back. This is his senior year. I mean, he's got a lot to prove, and this is a big game to prove it in.
Well, and there's no better time for the Los Alamitos defense to show what they can prove here. First down and 10. Hill lines up on the near side, wide receiver. Toloa pitches it out to Wildenstein. Wildenstein's going to cut it back inside, and we have a hold.
Another flag. Boy, I bet you it's another holding.
Well, and you said it, Ron. Is the front offensive line getting tired and maybe grabbing on?
Oh, I tell you, Fritz, from what I've been seeing so far, at least on this side of the field, I mean, they're doing everything but grabbing the face mask of the Los Al defensive linemen. I mean, these guys are whooped. They're tired. Los Al's D is putting great pressure on them, and at this point, you know, it's just going to get worse and worse if they keep trying to hold them out. The thing this year is, if you look at the Aztecs' offensive line, I mean, it's a good-sized offensive line, but it's not one of those monster offensive lines that they've been known for in the past, where everybody was about 6'5" and 290 pounds. I mean, you look at it, it's 275, 240, 245, 280, 266. But this, you know, it's a good-sized high school line, but like I say, Esperanza was always known for the monsters.
Well, and that's what just added to the drama of this matchup. So Toloa, 1st and 20. Estes closing quickly. The pass is complete. Receiver run out of bounds. And boy, Estes was coming with a full head of steam.
Yeah, it looks like they got about 5 yards on that play.
Thompson, the receiver on that.
But that's okay. When you got 1st and 20, you'll give up 5 yards of play.
Coach Rodriguez, Barry Shearer.
2nd and 15 for the Aztecs.
In your picture there, the defensive...
Well, try and figure out what Coach Rodriguez is calling, since he's the running back coach.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, Coach Rodriguez gets involved with just about anything he can. Toloa, big drop, looking pass, pump fakes, goes short again to the tight end.
But there was great coverage on that play. Donnie Olmstead right there. I mean, basically, this is one where, yeah, the guy's going to make the reception. You just got to be there and make sure he just doesn't get a whole lot of yards off you on the play.
Well, the Aztecs started with the ball, and we are now down under 6 minutes in the 3rd quarter. This drive chewing up a tremendous amount of time, and Ron, you mentioned it from the first snap. This would be a drive that the Aztecs would want to consume a lot of the clock, and with the penalties, they are certainly doing that.
Yeah, we've got 3rd and 10 here. Okay, 2 wide receivers right, 1 left.
Toloa, pass. That's complete to John Pace, their big tight end.
It's going to be interesting to see if Pace got the 1st down or not.
Finally stopped the clock at 5:02. 4-point lead. The officials are going to take some time and call in the chain gang, it would appear, to maybe measure this.
Yeah.
Or are they content that it's less than a yard away?
No, they're going to go ahead and measure it. He's getting the chains ready to go across the field right now.
So a very critical measurement here for the Aztecs. 4th down and 1. Question is, Ron, if they don't have the first down, and it would appear that they would be short based on what we're seeing, do they go for it or kick the field goal?
Okay, this looks like a long 1 yard here. Maybe it looks like a couple of feet. I'm waiting to see where he sets it down and marks it. I think he's got to go for it, Fritz, because I tell you what, I mean, this is as good a scoring opportunity as they're going to have. Wildenstein's been able to generate yardage. Yeah, this is a good yard, maybe 4 feet.
Wildenstein, 5.2 yard average. All they need is about 2.5 feet.
Don't be surprised to see a quick pitch to the outside to the left here to the wide side of the field. Try and spread things out.
Gut check for the Griffins, backed up.
Yep.
5:02 left in the 3rd quarter. Esperanza's chewed up most of the time.
Full house backfield.
And over the top appears to have enough for the first down.
Yep, first down Esperanza.
And who went over the top on that, Ron? Was that Kirshner?
I think it was Kirshner. Yeah, he's the one coming up. He's limping a little bit off of that one, but he did a nice job of just jumping over the top of the pile there. Be interesting to see a replay of that because I thought for sure Kirshner was in motion before the ball was snapped. They were dancing around a little bit in the backfield, but the refs didn't call it.
1st and goal, 2 yards to go. Taloa. Oh, and that should be short. That was Kirshner again. Looks like he's down at about the 1 foot line.
Boy, this is just full house smash mouth football. See if you can put 2 blocking backs in front. And it looks like the Angels just won because everybody's cheering. 6'5" Angels.
The Cardiac Kids.
The Rally Monkey works. I imagine the whole city of San Francisco's got to be ready to kill that pet.
What a battle.
Yep.
And the teams are sitting over there saying, hey, guys, what about us? We're on the 1 foot line.
Yeah.
What about us?
That's all right. It's a good segue into making noise for both teams.
Over the top.
I don't think he got it. No, they did. They signaled touchdown.
So Wildenstein breaks the plane. Actually, Pace ends up with the ball.
Pace ends up with the ball with afterwards, but and now we have a personal foul flag being thrown. Again, it'll be interesting to see who it's on.
I'll tell you, if it is number 34, Kirshner, he's actually being walked away by one of the other players. And, oh, that's Wildenstein.
Oh, is he ejected? Boy, when a referee walks him off the field, that's always, you wonder whether or not there was an ejection there.
Well, and actually Coach Meek grabbed Wildenstein by the face mask. Now,
wow, now this is critical, I'll tell you, for Esperanza, because now they're going to have to do, this is going to be a field goal, Fritz. And with the way that Los Al's been able to penetrate on their PATs, this is going to be interesting to see.
Well, now, Ron, could you see any type of motion by the referees? Was he ejected?
No, I didn't see him throw the thumb up, and usually you got to see that. There's a very specific maneuver they have to make to do it. What they may have done is told Coach Meeks, hey, go sit this hothead down on the bench for about 5-6 minutes.
Well, Weiner comes in. They've already missed 1 extra point, which could be critical in this game, and now this is not a gimme.
No, this is a 35-yard PAT here.
Weiner 20.
And it's blocked!
And that is...
Pick it up and run it! Pick it up and run it, Randy! Okay, maybe I'm confused with high school and college rules, because in college, you can pick and run that back for a safety.
Let me tell you this, as you see the score, Los Alamitos 10, Aztecs 12, and we'll take another look at Randy Estes laying out. There's a touchdown.
There's a touchdown. Yeah, he clearly breaks the plane. That's a good touchdown. Now let's see what happens afterwards. No, we didn't hold it on that one. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. I was at practice for Los Al on Wednesday, and they were practicing blocking kicks, which is something that you don't see actually done as a drill, but they were spending quite a bit of time on it, and there you see Randy Estes sacrificing himself That could be huge as this game motors along. The difference is, too, Los Alamitos going to get the ball.
Yep. Yeah, Coach Scully likes to run a drill where he has the long snapper go ahead and snap the ball, and then somebody stands in there that isn't regularly one of the kickers and tries to punt a soccer ball, and he has the guys come in and block it. And I always figure when I look at that poor kid who's picked there to try and kick that soccer ball that, you know, he must be thinking, like, Coach Scully's crazy.
Well, that was the exact play that we saw, or actually the exact drill that I witnessed on Wednesday. So back for the Griffins. Childs on the near side. Randy Estes on the far side. They stand on their own 2. And for the Aztecs, Wiener lets it rip.
And Estes just had a foot in the end zone, so it'll be taken out to the 20-yard line.
The kick sails into the end zone.
So most of that third quarter, all but 4 minutes and 4 seconds consumed by that drive that only nets 6 points, and that is 2 missed PATs, and you get the sneaking suspicion that that could loom very large as this game proceeds.
Yeah, what it does right now is that, I mean, it's a great 8-minute drive for the Aztecs, burns a lot of time off the clock, but if Los Al comes down here and scores right now, I mean, it says that the Aztecs have to score a TD again.
So Klein takes over the first possession of the second half for the Griffins. Klein gives it to Bagley, and Bagley is met in the backfield.
Wow, number 99, Long, just blew through on that play.
270-pound animal, Gabe Long, 6'4", 1 fumble recovery, 2 sacks, 39 tackles before tonight's game, and he's added a few more. Great play from all of those defensive front 4 for the Aztecs. That'll be second down and 13, loss of 3. The fake, and that is off line. They ran that in the first half, and that went for a big gainer.
Yeah, and that's a screen play out there. I mean, the line's supposed to let him slip, but I tell you what, Long is just accelerating through that line and putting great pressure on Jeff Klein there in that position. Coaches need to make some adjustments here, start generating some yardage, because this is not a position you want to punt from.
Well, and speaking of adjustments, being the first possession for the Griffins, the Aztecs have made some wonderful defensive adjustments. They got Bagley on that draw play, more or less, off-tackle play that he's had a lot of success at tonight. And then that play-action pass to Bagley and screen over to Tripp was also a big producer. Going nowhere here in the second half. Now they give it off to Bagley, and he is wrapped up at the line again. In on the stop is Brad Adams, and certainly the chalk talk during halftime leads to a quick 3-and-out. And as you said, the Griffins are going to have to punt from deep in their own territory.
Yeah, and it was real interesting also on that play. They switched Long to that side of the field, and he's again in on the play. I think the Los Al coaches are going to have to respect that this guy is a strong enough player that you're going to have to work the ball away from him.
Mike Davis back at the 49-yard line. Dolis punts it away, and not the
goes
best
off the
punt.
side of his foot. Let's hope we get a Los Al bounce, and it does.
And that'll go out about the 45-yard line of Esperanza. So a lucky bounce for the Griffins. And the Griffin defense that was on the field a good portion of the third quarter is going to have to come back out after a 3-and-out performance by the offense.
Yeah, I mean, they were on the field 8 minutes. They only get a minute and a half rest, and they're back out on the field again.
Aztecs will take over 1st and 10.
So there you see it, 12-10, a 2-point thin margin of lead by the Aztecs. And with 2:35 left in the third, Taloa goes back to work. Wildenstein checks back in. He picks up 8 on the drive. And in the backfield for the Griffins, Michael Lee wondering where the hold call was.
Yeah, because Mike's looking real perplexed on that one. I mean, he's throwing his hands up, looking to the coaches, looking to the sideline referee, saying, hey, come on, how long do they get to keep holding me all night? You're going to call it. And I've got to agree with him a little bit. I mean, the refs are letting this play a little too loose right now.
2nd down and 2. Wildenstein bounces off, comes near side, stood up, but enough for the 1st down.
Yeah, it was a good play by the defense. I mean, Wildenstein kept trying to scrape along the line, see if he could get to the outside and turn the corner, but defensive tackle on that side did a good job, and also linebacker coming up to help on that play.
So the chains move. Esperanza changing personnel. We are now down under 2 minutes.
The referee's coming to the sideline. I'm not sure for what.
Is there somebody down? Looks like there's somebody. Yeah, there's somebody down back behind the coaching staff.
No, now they're rolling the clock. I'm not sure what it was.
Well, no, there's still, maybe they're, it looks like they may be stretching out some cramps on the sideline.
Oh, okay. Ask that player to move out of the way. Yeah.
Taloa.
Again, hands off to Wildenstein, and there he's met by number 98, number 40. Okay, that's Mike Lee, Flores. I also see Greg Johnson getting up from that. Number 97, Eric Jark. Good job. Film the holes.
However, a pickup of 2 on the play, so Wildenstein, even when he gets stood up, is good for 2.
Yeah, but I'd rather give him 3 runs at 2 yards and force him to punt than to let him rip off one of those 15, 20-yarders.
Well, I agree with you, and kudos to the front 4 of the Griffins as they have been on the field most of the 3rd quarter. Down under a minute in the 3rd quarter. That looks like a busted play.
Oh, great job by Donnie Olmstead there. Just blindsided him from the backside. Good linebacker blitz on that play.
And the arm was moving forward because another second prior to that, and that may have been a fumble. So Olmstead coming around the backside, blindsides Taloa. Excellent response.
Here you see Olmstead just standing like he's going to go into coverage, and then he just darts in.
Boy, and he locks on to Taloa.
Yep. setting up, and Donnie hits him. Oh, boy, just before he started to bring that hand forward.
A half step, and that may have been a fumble.
Of course, you also got to say probably a guy with Taloa's strength probably could rip the arm forward with a guy trying to tackle him in that position.
Well, this will bring up a very important 3rd and 9.
And we have delay a game.
So for the Aztecs, the yellow laundry creating quite a bit of havoc in momentum killing.
Wish we had a statistician tonight because I've got to guess that the Aztecs probably have close to 100 yards in penalties tonight.
And at such inopportune times. I mean, they've got a great drive going, under a minute in the 3rd quarter. They've got the lead.
Yeah, it's a 2-point lead, and really what you're playing for here is you've got to get a score in this situation because you don't want to leave it, if you're the Aztecs, that Los Al can come downfield, kick a field goal, take a 1-point lead on you.
So that'll be 14 yards, 13 for the 1st down.
Well, Fritz, I got to say, this is exactly what we expected.
Exactly.
It's another knockdown, drag out, pounded out the whole way, going to come down to a couple points.
Well, and you might as well call this the league championship game, so you would expect nothing other than this from these 2 great teams. Man in motion is Thompson. Taloa looking pass, heavy rush.
And there we go, Flores. Oh, wow. Again, there's where I tell you, Taloa's got that arm strength. Flores had him wrapped, had his hand on his arm, and Taloa just fires the ball downfield. Boy, that's a strong guy.
Well, and Ron, one of the most interesting things you were talking about adjustment, it looks like Los Alamitos is finding access to the quarterback from the corners. And on 2 consecutive plays, you had Olmstead there, and then you had
Flores coming in.
Flores.
Well, you know, the thing is if your D-line's getting penetration, why not send your linebackers on blitzes? I mean, you're starting to see that your D-backs are going ahead and doing good coverage on this. Okay, let's see what happens on this punt.
Los Alamitos going for the block, and that will go, oh boy.
Boy, did they get a great bounce on that one.
That'll be inside the 10-yard line. Brandon Tripp walks away from it. So a ball that looked like it was initially going to go out at about the 15, maybe even the 20, stays in now inside the 10-yard line. And Jeff Klein will set up shop.
Okay, this is where the Griffins have to come back and do a march of their own. I mean, here's where they got to march about 8 minutes off the clock, just go 90 yards downfield, score a TD and put themselves up by, a good 5-point lead. Force Esperanza to have to come and make the touchdown.
38 seconds left in the third. They go back to Bagley. And Bagley, so far in the second half, absolutely nothing. He's running into the heart of that very strong defensive front.
Yeah, Fritz, and I got to say, I'm not sure what the coaches are trying to set up here on the Los Al side with this, because, I mean, this is 4 plays in a row that the running game's basically been stopped for Los Al. If you're trying to get Esperanza into a mood of, yeah, we're going to try and stop the run, I think you've established it.
Yeah. Do we need to see 5 stops before we get the message? And you were commenting earlier about the push that the offensive line for Los Al was getting on those defensive front 4. And so, obviously, adjustments in the second half are fruitful. So, the teams will change sides as we come to the conclusion of quarter number 3. And you see it, 12-10, the Aztecs on top. And we are going to have a whiz-bang of a fourth quarter.
Yeah, it is. This is going to come down to probably about 1999 season when Los Al wins on a last-minute play. What I see here right now is that, the Griffins have got to start figuring out how to generate the offense on this, because you can't run it, not at this point in time. I mean, Esperanza's defensive line is rejuvenated. I don't know what the coaches said to them during halftime. I'm sure it's something that they can't repeat to their mothers.
Yeah.
But, they get pretty fiery in there. But this is a motivated guys, and Los Al's not getting the same push and the same blocking schemes out of the O-line this half that they did in the first half.
Well, and it would appear that the Aztecs have also figured out the screen passing attack. So for Los Alamitos, is this a time to push it downfield? We'll see here momentarily.
Yeah, looking forward to see if we see some passes downfield to Childs or Tripp.
Fresh 12 minutes. Last 12 of this game. Klein going downfield.
Oh, way overthrows Mandis on that one.
In fact, Klein somewhat stutter-stepped. It's like he thought twice about throwing it.
Yeah, and that ball wasn't really even close to Mandis. Mandis had good position on that one. He was sandwiched in between the 2 defensive backs.
Well, and Klein has not had to go down the field so far tonight, so a little tentative there on first down.
Well, now we got third and 10.
Third and 10. This is an important play for Los Alamitos, down by 2. Klein, tentative again, throws into triple coverage. That ball intended again for Mandis, and all I can say is good coverage on Childs and Tripp.
Yeah, and you got to wonder about what's going on. Oh, boy, now we're seeing 62, Greg Cluey coming out. He's holding that arm, and I know he's been fighting that shoulder injury all season long here. They're going to have to do some work on him on the sideline.
Well, and that is maybe one of the reasons why we are seeing the running game not as effective in the second half. And you are right, that left arm just dangling.
Yeah, and he's talking to the trainer right now. It's just he's been fighting it all season long. Okay, we got a big kick here, calling for a fair catch.
That is Mike Davis.
I'll tell you what, this is good position for Esperanza. They're on the Los Al 47-yard line.
So Los Alamitos misfiring again on offense, and a weary defense comes back on the field. And for the Los Alamitos offense, they are going to ask the Los Al D to get them the ball back with 11:43 left in this contest.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say, from what I've seen so far, again, it was only about a minute and a half on the field. The Los Al D is going to have to make a play here. They're going to have to force a turnover.
Taloa gives the pitch. Wildenstein. Wildenstein finds a little bit of room on the corner.
Was that Wildenstein or was that 34, Kirshner or Kretschmer?
Correction, that's
Kirshner.
34, my apology.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael Kirshner. Yeah.
The sophomore, 5'9", 165 pounds.
Oh, holding again against Esperanza. Okay, wow. What is this, 6th, 7th holding call tonight on Esperanza?
Well, and now they're getting called.
Yeah.
We've seen a number of times, especially in the last series, where that call was not being made. Sometimes the harping on the referees to be looking for it by coaching staff is helpful. I know Michael Lee was frustrated.
And I got to be honest, Fritz, I mean, I played O-line, my son plays O-line. The holding is all the time going on in there. I mean, it's just to the degree, and if you're getting to that degree where it's so visible to the referees, it's blatant. Okay, it looks like we got Kirshner in the backfield again with Wildenstein at fullback. It's a reverse handoff. Oh, we got a great job by Donnie Olmstead there.
Wow.
Just nails him in the backfield. Great play by Olmstead. 10-yard loss.
Well, and we said it, the defense needed to step up, and boy, did they. Olmstead with a huge play on Wildenstein.
What you watch here as we come up on the replay, you see he fakes the handoff there, then he tries to do the drag handoff, and Donnie Olmstead just did it perfect. Stayed home in his position, waited for the guy to come back to him, and then just drops him.
And drove him back. So that'll bring up a country mile. Second down and 23.
We got a draw play here. Wildenstein still running, but LaSalle's defense, good job there. Nice job. Doesn't fall for the fake.
Well, and then we have, I'll tell you what, Estes was in on the stop, and Wildenstein having trouble controlling himself there, if you remember, on the touchdown.
Yep. And Wildenstein he's aching and hurting right now. I mean, he's got that walk that says, I'm tired of getting banged by these guys.
Well, and Randy Estes, a guy that loves to bang people, was the last white shirt around before that ball was thrown down.
I can imagine someday, you know, someone's going to give him the nickname the Hammer.
Yeah.
I mean, he just comes in and hits people. Oh, this is a new formation for Esperanza. Trips left, or trips right, I mean. Definitely drop back pass.
Taloa, big rush.
He's tackled for a loss. Excellent play by the defense. Way to go.
The best defensive stand of this game, and Los Alamitos needed it. The clock is under 10 minutes left in this contest, and the Los Al D did what they needed to do. Going to get the ball back to Klein and his offense.
Yeah, that's phenomenal play by the D when you look at it, because that's almost 38 yards to the first down. Phenomenal play.
Tripp is back.
Okay, this time they're going to put some blocking backs. Yeah, this one's going to be a run back.
Well,
geez.
Well, and Tripp is going to field it anyway. Has a little bit of room, but stood up there. So nice special teams play by the Aztecs, and now the Los Alamitos wait a minute. Well, there's a lot of emotion on this field right now.
A lot of emotion. You know it is. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Esperanza with that punt actually got the ball pretty much right back to about the line of scrimmage. I don't know where the chain gang's going right now because they haven't figured out that the ball's going Los Al's way.
Well, they've been a little slow all night long, we have to admit.
Yeah. I mean, the guy in the front only had to take one step and he would have been in position.
Oh, boy. Here we go. 9:22.
Yeah, best position, field position, second half for the Griffins to start a drive.
Klein's been 3 and out the last 2. They give it to Bagley, and we're seeing the same result.
It's just not working. It's just not working. I mean, this is where you got to say to the coaches, come on, coaches. You know, unless Jeff Klein has a hurt arm and we don't know it, I mean, I'm finding it very hard to understand why they keep running into the middle of the line. And, I mean, Long for Esperanza is just having a field day in there.
Well, the adjustments have been huge. Now we have Randy Estes checking in, and Bagley's coming out. So, interesting play. Is it the offensive line? Is it the running back? I'm not seeing any holes there that would require Bagley to come out, but we'll see if Randy Estes can get anything done.
Yep.
Childs,
there we go. Childs, great play. Childs still on the run. He's still going, and he's down to about the 30-yard line of Esperanza. Great play. Well, now we see the coaches open up the passing.
Well, maybe they saw something we didn't, but a crossing pattern by Childs gets the big gain, or the biggest probably of this game, and the Los Alamitos Griffins needed it.
There you go. Childs receives the ball wide open on that play, runs hard, avoids the trip up there, keeps going downfield, and finally number 5. That's, let's see, who is it? That's Ryan Domini. He makes the tackle.
Well, and Childs, if he picked up a block, would have gone in for 6.
Although it'd be hard to see who can keep up with him to be down there for that block. He was moving.
Clock continues to run, 8:15. Estes in the backfield, Tripp. Now things starting to open up. Tripp gets around the corner, still on his feet.
Nice play there. Childs does some great blocking. Tripp gets isolated on Domini, uses a good stiff arm, gets around. You know, Fritz, I think the only reason why they probably have Estes in right now is Ryan Bagley's just got to be one tired guy. I mean, here we go. We see the pass out to the flat. Here comes Tripp upfield. You see nice stiff arm there. Gets around the guy, keeps himself inbounds, picks up another 8 yards there. Great play by Los Al. We got a drive going here, Fritz.
Brandon Tripp, 10-yard average, 4 touchdowns, 326 yards receiving before tonight's contest. Big pickup there. Klein, Childs got blocking downfield.
Boy, I got to tell you, they see something on this left side that they think they can keep running this play. You know, because, I mean, that's probably what, I think the 8th or 9th time this game they've run that play to that side. Just a quick bubble screen right out to the wide receiver. Let the other receiver go down and arrange some blocking for him, pick up a quick 6-7 yards.
Steve Kretschmar on that rides Childs out of bounds. 8 minutes even on the clock.
Okay, the referee's here telling all the fans on the sideline, back up, guys.
Well, I'll tell you what happened on that. Childs was thrown into the chain gang. They didn't drop the poles and back up, which is somewhat dangerous.
Well, looking at the lead chain gang guy there, I'm not sure he could get out of the way of anything. That's a guy that likes his In-N-Out burgers.
Oh. Well, and we saw already this year against Carson where the chain gang took a direct hit, compound fracture, and he was carted off to the hospital. So is there any safe place on the sideline today?
No, I'd say from watching the games that no, there isn't. In fact, watching the Florida State game today, Chris Ricks just about destroyed a cameraman.
So 2nd down and 2, Los Alamitos driving, fakes it to Estes.
Tripp keeps the ball, or I mean Klein, Klein keeps the ball.
And we haven't seen Klein tuck it under and go.
But that was a good play, Fritz, because,
Absolutely.
you know, Los Al's been running with the running back into the line on all those plays. And as soon as you fake that you're giving it to Estes, you freeze the lineman, and that gives Klein the opportunity to get to the outside and see if he can find a lane.
So that'll bring up a 1st down, 4, goal to go. Klein steps in under center. They give it to Estes. Estes runs right into the heart of the line, and the surge.
Still pushing.
The surge, that's going to probably be within 1, maybe 2.
I'd say probably, yeah, a couple feet here, Fritz. It looks like where the line judge marked it. It's inside the 1-yard line. Just a good surge by Los Al there.
Well, and the clock continues to run, and if you're Los Alamitos and the type of drive that the Aztecs put together in the 3rd, every second that ticks off could be terribly important.
Yep. Okay, it looks like Esperanza just brought in the big boy front line. I mean, they took about 3 DBs out, brought in about 3 big wide bodies. This is going to be pretty basic.
Well, and the question is, what does Los Alamitos have planned? Maybe a little rollout pass to the end zone and
illegal participation. Yep. They won't call it substitution. They'll call it participation. Yeah, by the time Los Al broke the huddle, there was 12 men on the field, and that's the way the rule operates.
Well, and if you're Coach Gary Meek, you have to be looking at the penalties and going, what more can go wrong? They can't even get the substitutions right. And I'll tell you something, here you are, that's something you see in weeks 1 and 2, not the 2nd week of league.
Yeah, and like I say, it's really surprising when you see 4 or 5 guys come in at one time. That's when you can have that situation, because all of a sudden a whole bunch of bodies come on, a whole bunch of bodies go off, and you never know, did you get the count right?
Klein going to keep it.
And he's in for the touchdown. Los Al takes the lead. Okay, Fritz, now the question is, since it doesn't matter whether you got a 4-point lead, a 5-point lead, or a 6-point lead, you go for 2 on this one to at least give yourself 6 points, knowing the way that Esperanza has been kicking PATs.
Well, we'll wait and see on that. Let's take a look at the touchdown.
Got the offensive line set. Nice surge there. Yeah, Klein just follows right behind his guard, gets an open hole, and goes in for the touchdown. Good play by Los Al. Yeah, we have the coaches here. Okay, Coach Barnes is talking to him right now. Okay, we have Espinoza in at guard, and we have the full house backfield, and I think we got a timeout. Yeah.
So you were right. Is Coach Barnes going to think about this one?
No, I don't think he's got any doubt in his mind. He says has said multiple times, it doesn't matter whether you have a 5-point lead or a 6-point lead. you've got to put as many points on the board as you can, because if they score a touchdown on you and get 18, you want to at least have yourself in the position to be ready for a tie if you can block their PAT.
Well, and I had heard at one of the practices, and maybe you could confirm this, that during Sunset League play, all of the coaches have decided that they will play a tie out under the California tiebreaker rules, and we've seen some very big games end in ties because they hadn't made the decision ahead of time.
Okay, I hadn't heard that, Fritz, and that's a good thing, I think. You know, it's really, you hate to see ties at the end of a game, especially, you know, when you got a league as competitive as the Sunset League. You want to see the guys go for it all the way.
Well, and we see Gamarnik on the sideline warming up.
Careful about bouncing on the table. I think the electric cord's loose because I'm seeing both the lights and the monitor going out.
6:45 left in this contest.
Okay, we're going to go for 2 here. We got the big boy backfield.
Los Alamitos will go for 2 points.
There you have it. Klein's going to
rolling
roll out.
And no go.
Intended receiver on the far side was Childs.
So with 6:45 remaining in the game.
So the difference remains at 4. And Los Alamitos will kick it off to the Aztecs of Esperanza, 16-12. And the Aztecs will have another opportunity to try and put more points on the board. For the Esperanza Aztecs, they chewed up most of the third quarter. 6:45, plenty of time for them to chew up time. Chewed up a lot of time, and they can put a drive together and leave Los Alamitos, if able to score with little time to respond. That's, of course, how you'd like to draw it up if you were Coach Meek. Back deep for the Aztecs is number 1, Mike Davis, and number 34, Michael Kirchner, 165-pound sophomore.
Okay, this is a critical kickoff for Kevin Gamarnik here. I mean, boy, the coaches had to have told him, you've got to put it in the end zone.
Kirchner and Davis stand on their own 5-yard line, and they squib kick it. That'll be taken by the up man, Steve Kirchmar, still on his feet, and he is ridden down there by Mr. Flores.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if this was a planned one or not. I'll have to ask the coach after the game.
Well, and the best defensive stand that we had seen all game, and it's been a very admirable defensive game for the Griffins, but the best stand was last series. They've had a chance to rest and get ready because they stopped the Aztecs here, and we turned the corner and started heading home on this game. Deloa gives us to Wildenstein. Wildenstein
trying to get to the outside.
Up.
No, nice job by the Los Al defense. Only gives them about a gain of maybe 2 yards. And I could tell by the way Coach Barnes was talking to Kevin Gamarnik when he came to the sideline, knew that was not a planned squib kick. But it worked out okay.
6:15 left in this contest. 16-12, Los Alamitos hanging on to a 4-point lead. 2nd down and 8, Taloa going to go back to the air. That's tipped.
Wow.
Tipped by Flores.
And I'll tell you what, I think the intended receiver was Brandon Weiner, and I think he either fell down or Jeff Minter just clocked him on the sideline before the ball was released.
No flags, 3rd and 8. Third down.
This is huge right here, Fritz. This is huge. Los Al has to stop Esperanza on this.
Personnel coming in off. Tripp steps off the field.
Yeah, they brought in Jark again to get more pressure on the offensive line, more rush pressure. I wouldn't be surprised to see a linebacker come on this play.
Under 6 minutes to go. Taloa, plenty of time. And
nice job. Great job by Jark. Again, he knocks the ball down. Huge play by Eric Jark. Again, it's just so basic. If you're a defensive lineman, you see that arm go back, get your hands in the air.
Well, the difference in score, we opened with it over that 23-game series prior to tonight was 8 points. The difference tonight is 4, and back into the favor of Los Alamitos. Wouldn't it be fitting if this is how this game ends to close in and over 24 matchups, only a 4-point difference. That's how tough these two teams play each other. As Tripp fields this one, doesn't fair catch it, ridden out of bounds immediately with 0 return. So Klein will get an opportunity to add to this 4-point lead.
Yep, and I've got to say that was a very nice punt by the Aztec punter.
Excellent punt.
Yeah, put the ball up high onto a sideline. His guys were down there in the lane to cover it. Didn't give Brandon any opportunity to run the ball back. Okay, got the ball approximately on about the 36-yard line of Los Al. We need a nice drive here. Be great to see a touchdown, or if not getting that, at least a field goal.
5:46 left in the fourth. Klein from the gun. Give
Randy
it to
Estes.
Estes finding
Estes
room.
broken free. Okay. We got some fresh legs in here, and this is a guy that we know has speed from the run backs we've seen him do on some of the kickoffs return. And, you know, this could be one of those interesting situations like last year when Paulie had Darnell Bing, and he would play defensive back for most of the game. And then at the tail end of the game, when Herschel Dennis was getting a little tired, would come in and play running back, and you realize Darnell was one heck of a running back. Well, I think Randy Estes probably fits the same bill.
Well, and I'll tell you, the timing that the defense, or at least the front four for the Aztecs, has had to adjust to in Bagley, I'll tell you, Estes' first step is like out of a shotgun, and just the timing that the Aztecs have had to adjust to, this is a new wrinkle for them. They give it to Estes again, and a great first step.
Yep. Yeah, Randy Estes is just playing on fresher legs. I mean, you know, Ryan Bagley has given a great game for the Griffins tonight, and you can just tell, I mean, Ryan just got tired and worn out. I mean, you get beat up all night long. The other thing I'm noticing in here, too, Daniel Espinoza is now in at guard for Greg Cluey. Looks like that shoulder probably, he's going to be done for the night here. He'll rest it up, get ready for next week. It's just a week-to-week thing. He has to live through it.
So the clock continues to run. We will be under 5 minutes by the time the ball is snapped.
Okay, looks like we got Bagley back in. Maybe got rested up a little bit here.
Well, and Estes did take a pretty good pop when he went down there. I noticed he got up a little slow, but he did what he needed to do. Klein gives it to Bagley. They're going to keep this on the ground to chew some time off.
Yeah, this is definitely when you want to grind the time off. And what's nice to see is Dan Espinoza coming back off of a knee injury. You know, he had a partial tear. Here we see, okay, on the sideline, we got somebody limping again. Ah, it's Bagley. This looks more like cramp maybe than anything else.
Well, and maybe that's why they got him out of there.
Yeah, it could be. Well, you know, running backs, when they're going this hard during the whole game, I mean, they really are susceptible to cramp, and there goes Estes back in. But Dan Espinoza, I mean, he was a starter at the beginning of the season, got a little injured, getting back in there now. He'll work back into it, and he'll be a force next year as a senior.
So if you're Esperanza, you see Bagley go out, and then you see Estes come in.
And again, boom!
And he does what he's been doing.
Okay, now we got a flag, and this is probably going to be a personal foul. Question's going to be, who's it going to be on?
4 minutes even on the clock. They're discussing it on the far side. Now, we saw the near side.
Yeah, Espinoza and one of the Esperanza players were kind of bumping and knocking each other. The question's going to be, okay, who's considered the instigator on this one?
Well, the flag came from the far side. It almost looked like they were looking at the pile. I didn't see anything.
True. Oh, they're calling hold. Wow. That's an interesting way to be able to call a hold when you're calling from the far side and the play's about 50 yards across field.
Well, and well over, and to take that much time to think about it and discuss it, was it that clear in the beginning?
Yeah. But you know what, I've got to say, the refs have been doing a good job all night long. They're trying to be conscientious. They probably saw something that was fairly blatant. You know, what you look for in that situation was, did somebody have their hand on a face mask? You know, what was the situation on that play?
Well, 4 minutes remain in the game.
Okay, we have 2nd and 20 on this.
Scoreboard shows 2nd and 21. And Klein will step back in.
Well, Fritz,
Clock now running.
I'm not so sure that wasn't a personal foul, because if they took it from the point of infraction, it should be only 2nd and 15.
Well, maybe that's why they took so much time thinking about it. They give it to Estes. Estes goes on the far side, has some room, moving around,
Estes is
people.
moving, he's going, and we have another flag on the play. Now, what is this referee calling? Nobody is there.
Well, it was the lane that Estes ran through, and it is against the Griffins.
I don't believe this. I mean, I'm going to say I'm sorry, but this is 2 calls in a row by the same referee, calling it on when the play is well over and behind. I don't know where he's calling holding from.
Well, and John Barnes just threw his hands up.
Okay, let's see if we got something on a replay here. You got Estes going through. No hold, no hold, no hold. Boy, I got to tell you, I'm baffled.
Well, if it was anywhere within eye shot of what we just saw, I didn't see it, and Barnes is fuming.
Well, and especially the thing is, they keep bringing it back from where approximately the line of scrimmage is, and the ref is throwing the flag well downfield, and the rule is it's supposed to go from the point of infraction.
The only good news about this is the clock continues to run. We are under 3.5 minutes left in the game. They give it to Estes and run the same play again, and this time Esperanza is ready for it.
Come on, refs, why are you calling time? Wait, who called timeout? Nobody on Los Al called timeout. Why is the referee calling? Okay, Esperanza did. Yeah, I was trying to figure out why would Los Al call timeout in this situation. Well, now it's going to be real tight on clock time, and you just hope that you don't have the Fountain Valley timekeeper that we had about 5 years ago.
We caught that guy red-handed because we had the clock in our monitor.
Yeah, fortunately they were able to show him that was like, wait a moment. Yeah.
Well, again, lots of emotion. Typical end to a crosstown rivalry matchup. The Griffins, the Aztecs, 4-point game, 3:18 left. For Esperanza, looking to keep their perfect season alive and go 7-0 for Los Alamitos. Looking to go 6-0-1, and John Barnes looking to tie Dick Hill's record tonight.
Yeah, 212 wins over a career, 24 years. You know, when you think about that, that's about 9 wins a year on average. And when you think that the first couple of 4 or 5 years that John was here, you know, he was building the program and getting them up to the quality that they eventually became. It's been pretty phenomenal. He's averaged probably about 10 to 11 wins per year for the last about 15, 16 years.
Well,
okay, we have about, what, 3rd and 16 here. This is a critical play for Los Al.
Well, and you'd almost think that they're going to go 2 down here if they can pick up good yardage on this next play.
Klein's flush from the pocket, looking, and throws the ball away. Okay, that's probably a smart play on that play.
Well, picking up nothing on that, very likely we will see the punting unit come on, and Los Alamitos will again ask this defense.
The only thing I could fault Jeff for on that play, if you're going to punt, that's the one time you wanted the quarterback to be tackled because you wanted the clock to still run. He killed only 5 seconds off the clock. These are the things that quarterbacks learn as they get older and wiser.
Well, Dolis comes in, probably the most important punt this season, and back for Esperanza's Mike Davis, the 190-pound junior, and Los Alamitos is going to call timeout.
Okay, they're calling everybody over.
Scoreboard shows 4th and 16. If you were getting any ideas about faking the punt, although not the kind of territory you'd want to be doing that.
No, I don't think they're going to fake the punt here. I think what they want to do is just make sure everybody understands where is Dolis going to try and kick the ball, and the primary importance of stay in your lanes, don't try to converge on the guy too early, and don't give him the outside.
Well, and if the special teams can come through, we've seen the last 2 series where the defensive effort by the Griffins has been absolutely superb.
Yeah, I'd say this is one where you definitely, as a coach, and Coach Rodriguez is a special teams coach, you know, he's probably trying to, you know, mentally project the image into James Dolis right now of, you know, put the ball out at the 5-yard line, aim for the sideline, aim for the sideline, don't give this guy the ball.
And Coach Barnes, I'm watching him going back and chewing on the ear
Oh,
of the
yeah.
side judge, and you have to wonder, would this drive still be alive without one or two of those penalties? So Dolis, good snap.
Good snap, gets it up. Oh, beautiful punt by Dolis. He just skies it. Now, come on, turn around, guys. There you go. Got the ball right on the 5-yard line for Olmsted. That was beautiful. They could not have executed it any better.
Dolis skies it, allows his coverage team to get down. Mike Davis didn't want anything to do with that, and so for Esperanza to win this game, they have 3 minutes and 2 seconds deep in their own territory and drive the whole field.
Yeah, 95-yard drive here. What Los Al has to do here is not allow any big gains. I mean, force them to grind the time off the clock, although I imagine Taloa is going to try and go up in the air.
Well, and a field goal won't help. They need 6. Taloa goes to the air under big-time pressure, and that off the mark. Antoine Cason closer to catching that than the intended receiver, Thompson. Yeah. Nice rush by the Griffin front four.
Yeah, Chris Cherie, Eric Jart, great pressure on that one. I tell you again, here's the case of where you say, yeah, it's that Los Al depth of talent. Eric Jart comes in. He's been putting great pressure on the whole game, really giving Los Al a good drive from that defensive front four.
You think it's time, Ron, for maybe a little added personnel, a blitz up front?
No, I'd still say just go with the 4-man rush on this one. What you don't want to do here is you just don't want to give away the huge play.
Going back across the field, nice pass, nice catch.
That's Brandon Weiner, number 80. Yeah, that's the one thing you didn't want to have happen is to have a guy have enough time. And I tell you what, Taloa's got a cannon for an arm.
He threw back across himself, found
he's
Weiner.
Running to the right side, throws across his body, probably 65 yards when you include the diagonal distance. Maybe even more. It may have been close to a 70-yard pass because he threw entirely across the width of the field. Phenomenal throw.
Clock now back underway, 2:40.
Handoff. There we go. Nice job. Greg Johnson meets him at the line of scrimmage, holds him for maybe a 1-2-yard gain.
Well, and here's where the ground game works against Esperanza because that clock continues to run and the pile getting up very slowly, so Esperanza not even getting back on the ball that quickly.
Yeah, and I don't know how many timeouts they have left at this point, whether they have 1 or 2 timeouts. Okay, here again we see this is the switch by the Los Al defense. Put Tripp in it as DB. Don't give up the big play.
We'll be pretty close to 2 minutes. 2:06 now at the snap. Ball across the middle. Almost picked off.
Almost picked off by Antoine Cason. God, that's a rocket. I'll tell you what I'm seeing of Rick Taloa right now says if somebody's not recruiting him for college, this kid's got a cannon for an arm.
Well, let me tell you what Coach Meek said about his physical and very present quarterback. He said this guy's got a pro arm. He's a leader on this team. The kids respect him, and I think we're seeing his pro arm in this drive.
Oh, absolutely, Fritz. I mean, boy, that's a rocket he's throwing downfield.
2 minutes and 3 seconds. Third down.
Oh, there we go. Okay, that's motion.
Now Weiner is, or correction, Wildenstein is trying to plead his case, saying that Los Al moved. This will be very important.
No, number 74 on Esperanza knows. Yeah, he stood up about 1/2 a second too early on the snap. Of course, then you saw Esperanza trying to real hurriedly get back into position, except one of the things that they got to remember is, hey, when you have a penalty flag thrown, clock stops.
Well, penalties in the review of this game, if you're Esperanza, have definitely been a problem.
And this one's critical, Fritz, because you went from 3rd and 8 now to about 3rd and 13. And, you know, of course, we're in 2-down territory now.
Absolutely.
So they're going to have to try and go for it. But since they've been trying to use the passing play, and it looks like Los Al's gotten a little bit of a grip on their running game, if you try to do a draw here, you could end up with 4th and 10, and that would be a very tough proposition.
Well, John Pace, the tight end, number 83, has been clutch in Taloa passing and nice pickup. The 6'2", 225-pound senior could be the target.
Throws deep. And we have an interception. Brandon Tripp. Okay, well, that may have been one time where Taloa just had too good an arm. Way overthrew the ball. That was to Thompson, and just didn't have a chance to get it.
And when they try to force it, they
Here you
make
go.
mistakes.
Taloa looks deep, throws the ball hard downfield, and just overthrows his receiver. And Brandon Tripp says, yeah, just like I'm going to catch a ball in center field in baseball. Make sure I just grab it all the way. Great job. Well, now the question is there any timeouts left for Esperanza? Because if there isn't, I would imagine we'll see Los Al take a knee here each time. You know, don't let the ball get fumbled. If there still is timeouts for Esperanza, then we're going to have to see him try for a first down here.
1:57 left.
Okay, they're lined up in the normal shotgun, so obviously must be they have to get a first down.
They're going to go Estes.
Okay, no game, but the clock's running. Okay, this has got to be Esperanza's last timeout, yeah. 1:51, so let's see. So at this point in time, if you got 1:51 left, Los Al can probably run off about another minute and a half. That's going to leave you with about another 20 to 25 seconds that could possibly be left for Esperanza unless you get a first down in this situation. And that's going to be critical for the Griffins if they turn the ball back over.
Well, and you never want to say this game is over until it is over.
How many games have been over the years? I mean, you come down the last 10, 15 seconds, and everybody on the other side thinks the game's over and won, and boy, there's a huge play that comes up, and next thing you know, it's a total change. Yeah, well, I've got to say, this has been another barn burner game. I mean, you know, it's everything you'd hope for. It's a great rivalry game. Both sides playing hard, going at it, and, you know, both teams giving everything they've got on the field tonight.
Well, and in 2000, they actually created a trophy for this matchup. They called it the Millennium Cup. And in the first year that cup was being awarded, Esperanza took it. Los Alamitos took it last year, and it looks like it's going to stay at Los Al.
Yeah, it looks like it, but I'm not going to say anything definite yet. No jinx in the game. Yep.
1:51 left. 4-point lead by the Griffins, and they're looking at a 2nd and 11. Need to pick up a first down to ice this. The fake, Klein goes around the end, going to the outside, and he's got some speed, and he is taken down.
And Klein just got the first down.
And
Great,
Barnes is signaling the first down. So Barnes hasn't been happy with the referees in the last quarter, so he's going to take over some of the duties.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We've seen Jeff do this time and time again this year where he just does that very nice fake to the running back into the line, puts the ball on his hip, and then he scoots out around the outside, uses that great speed of his, and goes ahead and, you know, in this case, this was a critical first down. This is pretty much now take a knee time.
Well, and the clock continues to run. No timeouts for Esperanza, and they will just watch Los Alamitos take a knee.
Well, I'm surprised they're doing a shotgun snap here right now. Okay, that's, yeah, delay a game right there, 1:17. That's okay.
Flag on the play. Delay a game.
Breaking through the line there was Gabe Long.
Well, we've got 1:17 left, 4 plays to make it happen in. You figure it's going to take about 35 seconds to play. Not enough time left, but that's why I say I'm surprised to see they're doing the shotgun and they're not doing a direct snap.
Coach Van Gorder there, one of the defensive coaches, and boy, kudos to the defense tonight. They really stood strong when they needed to.
Yeah, Barry Scher, Nello Tomarelli, Coach Van Gorder, that whole group.
And there we go.
Hold the ball
Bagley.
tight. Hold the ball tight, Ryan. There we go. Nice job. Another first down. This is it. Game's over.
Well, and we saw Bagley limp off the field. You had mentioned it may have been a cramp, but nice to see him come back and rip a nice one off for a first down.
In fact, Fritz, after he come off the field on that one play, he actually laid down on the sidelines and the trainers had worked on him. It's just, you know, in fact, you can tell here he's cramping up again just a little bit. These running backs, I mean, especially like Ryan, with as hard as he goes and the lower body strength he displays, I mean, he just burns the energy up and does a great job out there.
Clock back underway, 1:05.
There we go. Okay, now we're into take a knee time. Yeah, this is it. Let the time burn off. Boy, this has been a great game. I've got to say, you know, a lot of respect for Esperanza. Good, great team, played hard. Los Aldo, I mean, came to the game to play, knew it was going to be a real challenge, and, you know, met the match.
So Los Alamitos, as we see the clock stop at 55.1 seconds, will go to 6-0-1. For Esperanza, they will experience their first loss of the year. They will be at 6-1. And for Los Alamitos, a clear path to the league championship, although you never want to underestimate a team like Fountain Valley, which is finding life all of a sudden.
Yeah, you never underestimate a Fountain Valley, a Marina, and Edison. I mean, it's Sunset League. Everyone wants to beat everyone out here. There's a lot of rivalries. I tell you, the key thing, though, for Los Al out of this is to win the season out, go in with the #2 seed, get themselves opposite Pauley in the brackets. I expect this will be Esperanza's only loss during the regular season. They're a very strong team. When you look at the statistics, it's pretty much clear who is the class of the Sunset League this year, which is Los Al and Esperanza. Okay, and the clock's just grinding down right now. Expect we'll get down to about 30 seconds before we see another snap. Yeah, this is going to be one of those. I think if high school runs like college, we're going to see that the running statistics for Los Al are going to get real bad here. This client's going to take about 3 5-yard knees.
Well, we are at 26.
There we go, another knee, and I think that's it. This is it, game over. Well, you got to hand it to both teams, Fritz. This was a heck of a game.
Hard fought, 4-point difference, and now over 24 matchups, the difference is only 4 points.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, if that doesn't say everything about the rivalry. So the Griffins advance to 6-0-1 in week 2. They are 2-0 in league play. And for the Aztecs, they go 1-1 in league play, 6-1 overall. And it was a wonderful contest. And your final thoughts here before we throw to break?
I just say, you know what? It's just another classic Los Al Esperanza game. The last 2 years were kind of anomalies with blowout scores, one on each side. This takes it back to what it's been. Two teams fighting it out all the way, grinding it out hard, and really it came down to which team made the least amount of mistakes.
Well, and let's congratulate Coach Barnes for his 212th victory. He is now tied with Dick Hill for the most wins in Orange County. And let's congratulate also Coach Gary Meek for 17 wonderful years. And he goes out not a winner in this grudge match, but I can tell you there's a lot more football to play in this 2002 Sunset League season, and he's a class act.
Yeah, he is.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to step aside for just a moment. We'll be right back. There you see it, the final score, Los Alamitos 16, Esperanza 12.
This edition of the LATV3's Game of the Week is brought to you by friends and family of the Los Alamitos Football Booster Club and by your friends at McKenna Motors, McKenna Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep at the Pomona Auto Center, McKenna BMW, Porsche, Audi, and Volkswagen at the Norwalk Auto Center, and McKenna Volkswagen and Isuzu on the Beach Boulevard Mile of Cars in Huntington Beach.
It isn't an order or a command. Protocol doesn't require it. The oath of enlistment doesn't refer to it. So why do sailors devote so much time to helping Americans in need? To instituting programs on their behalf? Because when you're in the Navy, you go wherever the battle is.
Winston, just one more inning, Grandma.
Ever notice how many things today kids can do without actually moving? A whole lot of things their parents used to do the hard way. So many kids' activities today seem to leave out the activity part, which makes exercise even more important for children. In fact, new research tells us the best time to enhance bone development is during childhood and adolescence. And just getting children to walk an extra 35 minutes a day could spare them the pain of thinning bones later in life. Healthy bones come from healthy habits. Encourage your kids to get up, get out, and get moving.
Hello. Hey, Grandma, how about another grape soda?
For more advice on how kids can build strong bones, visit AAOS.org. A public service message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
The passage is intense, but if you complete the journey, you will find your destiny among the world's greatest warriors. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey, give me a helmet, Greg. Hey,
there you see it, the Millennium Cup. It spent the last year on the campus of Los Alamitos High School, and it will spend another year here. And while the Millennium Cup has been a trophy of this contest, it is a 2-1 schedule or standing as far as who owns that trophy. And there you see it being hoisted up. While we are waiting for John Bowles to get our interviews together downstairs, let's go ahead and take a look at how the Sunset League fared this week. We talked about Esperanza, 6-1, their first loss of the season. Esperanza, at this point, is in a second seat position as far as looking from top to bottom. Los Alamitos at 6-1 in the driver's seat. You have Fountain Valley that took on Edison this week, and Fountain Valley pulling out some victories. They really struggled in the pre-league. They now are 2-0 in Sunset League play.
Yeah, actually, it's very surprising to think of Fountain Valley being tied with Los Alamitos for the Sunset League lead right now. And this is critical to Fountain Valley because at this point in time, they're 3-4. And if you think about it, the fact that they still have Los Alamitos and Esperanza left to play, it's going to be very tough for them to get another win. And they're going to have to finish in third place if they're going to go on to the next level of play in the playoffs.
Well, let's go downstairs to our man on the field, John Bowles. What do you got, John?
Guys, we're down here on the field after the game. Griffin's just celebrating their Millennium Cup. But if anybody gets credit for tonight's victory, it's the defense. Great job tonight by the Griffin defense. Only allowed 2 touchdowns by Esperanza. And Gregory Johnson, you were throwing the ace of spades up there in the Griffin there. Tell the folks at home what the ace of spades means and what that ceremony is after the game.
It's just tradition. It's been going on for years and years. It's one of the many traditions at Los Al. We burn it after every victory. Put the name on there, burn it, and get a Griffin pride. That's what it's all about.
This guy in the middle here, Joe Flores, came in last week when Gabe Dobie got hurt. Joe, you had a super game last week. Talk about how you have to change your preparation knowing you're going to be in the starting role like you were tonight.
Well, I just came out and played the game I was supposed to play, you know. The game I was supposed to be coached by the coach and just play what I had to do.
All right.
Just did what I have to do.
All right.
Follow the coaches, baby.
Donnie Olmstead, you guys were all over the Esperanza running backs, especially in the second half, tackling them for behind the line of scrimmage. You had the big down on the punt there to make them go the distance. Talk about just the defense through the preseason and then the way you guys just tightened the bolts tonight.
Well, tonight we just did what we were supposed to do. We all played our assignments, and we with a W. It was a great feeling right now.
All right, congratulations, guys, 2-0 in league. Looking forward to it. Back to you guys. We'll be back down with Coach Barnes right after this.
Thank you very much. And Johnson, Flores, and Olmstead, those guys were in and around the ball a lot tonight, and congratulations. This defense did make the difference. They put the ball back in the offense's hand to allow them to drive the ball down.
Yeah, and I've got to say, you know, this has been somewhat how Los Al's played for probably the last 3 or 4 years. Allow a strong defense to set up the offense. It's not quite the offensive power it was, 93, 94, 95, 96, you know, where it was basically air Los Al, throw the ball downfield, score 40, see if someone could score 41. They've really focused on strong defenses, stop the other team, and, you know, score enough points to win the game, but don't allow the other team to run rampant. I've got to hand it to both the offense and the defense on this game. I mean, the offense made the plays they had to make. Defense just stepped up and played huge. I know the pregame talk from a lot of people outside the program had been about, well, Los Al's been run on by other teams in the past, and, you know, Esperanza was going to come out and really run hard on them tonight. But what people had to realize is that when you have a player like Harrigan running against you, you're looking at a college-level player.
Absolutely, and he is that whole team. We'll talk about that before we wrap things up. Let's go down to John Bowles, who has Coach Barnes.
Down here on the field after the game, Coach John Barnes, 16-12 win for the Griffins tonight. Defense really was the muscle tonight for you guys.
They were unbelievable. They're averaging, what, 42 a game, and they got 12, 30 below it. You know, and they just made plays, and then in the fourth quarter when we had to have some stops, man, they made some great stops. So I'm really proud of them. They played great.
On a personal note, this is your 212th career victory as a head coach. You're tied now with Dick Hill. Presumably you'll break that record this year. Just talk about your career and just what it's like to be at that level.
Well, it means I'm old, and I've been coaching a lot of games. And I've been lucky to be in a great community with great players, and my coaches have been so special to me. They're like brothers. So I think that all kind of is part of it. I'm happy. I won't dwell on this very long. Beating Esperanza is a lot more important than 212 to me. But when I retire, I'll probably look back and then I'll really enjoy it. But I am proud of it. I'm proud that our community and our school and our football team has been that good for that long.
Last question. You and Gary Meek have been friends, longtime coaching rivals. Just talk about the special relationship you two have and the program between these two schools.
Well, I think there's a ton of respect between Gary and I. We have battled now, I think, 18 times, you know, and the battles have all been like tonight, you know, just wire-to-wire, gut-wrenching, tough games, good for the fans. And I think he's the best coach I know he's the best coach I've ever coached against, and he's probably put more losses on my side than anybody else. And so I really hate to see him go, but selfishly I'm glad he's gone because it's been so hard. Maybe the next guy will be easier, but he's a class man, he's a class act, and his record speaks for itself.
All right, thanks a lot, John.
Thank
Congratulations.
You, John. All right.
Back to you guys upstairs, 16-12, Griffins victory.
Thank you very much, John. And a comment on what Coach Barnes had to say about Coach Meek. I said, Coach Meek, do you think you're going to go outside of the system to pick up a head coach? He goes, nope, we don't need to. We have too much talent on this team. So I would venture to say you are going to see equally as competitive a coach going ahead and taking over this very good program.
Yeah, and Los Al brings up Fountain Valley next week. That'll be another big game. Fountain Valley has not had much success against Los Al over the years, but they take it personal.
Well, and as Coach Barnes says, in the Sunset League, every week's a battle, and for every opposing team, it's their Super Bowl. They pull out all the stops. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I'm Fritz Pollard for Ron Cluey and our good buddy down on the field, John Bowles. We appreciate you watching LATV Sports. We're going to wrap it up here from Bradford Stadium, where the final score is the Los Alamitos Griffins 16, the Aztecs of Esperanza 12. Thank you for watching, and good night from Bradford Field.